And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They're open for sales and service Monday through Saturday, and they're open all the time on GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Make sure you head over there today. Let them know that DT sent you and find your next ride or your first ride. You know, in my case, the first time I got a vehicle was a Honda vehicle. It was a Honda CRV, a 1999, and it actually saved my life, arguably, when I was in an accident, hit by a drunk driver at a red light down in New York City. So I got to thank Honda for way more than just having a good product when it comes to pricing and whatnot. I got to thank Honda for just being an overall safe vehicle and a great company to work with. So thank you to Great Lakes Honda City. We're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So wherever you are, thanks for being with us. And inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', bringing you our guests and topics of the day. We're going to start things off here in hour number one with Jamie Young, who has had a very incredible career when it comes to the sport of basketball. He has been in different divisions in NCAA. He's been at the professional level in the NBA. He's an NBA champion, and he's back here in our community of Central and Upstate New York, and I always appreciate our conversations, and I'm happy we crossed paths. So we'll be talking to the champ in just a second. And then in hour number two, we'll have a double dose of the Bearcat Breakroom in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. Mary Grimes will be joining me first, and Yanniah Boyd following her at 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, respectively, for Mary and Yanniah, as we talk about the success of the 7-1 in the America East and 15-6 overall Binghamton women's basketball squad. And we'll round out Tuesday, as we always do, with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli's. With that being said, let's go picture in picture with Mr. Young here. Jamie, how we doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. This must be the JV first since you have Mary on after me. So she's incredible coach.
No JV here. Yes, she is a fantastic coach, but I think NBA champ. I think we're good on this. So, Jamie, first and foremost, just for you, I know we were talking a little bit off the air, but how you ended up back to Lemoyne. I know you came to Lemoyne for a season. You worked under Nate Champion, and then you left, went off to Villanova, and just kind of what brought you back into Central New York.
It was just really opportunity. Went to Nova last year. Things didn't work out the way I hoped. Situation was tough, but this situation came up again to come back to Lemoyne, and that's what God presented me with. So I jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, and when you spent that time at Villanova, obviously you were coming onto the staff of a coach with a team that was struggling, right? Programs that have the caliber coach of Jay Wright, it's going to be hard to have, any success that somebody thinks is maybe good enough. I mean, he was voted coach of the decade in the 2010s and won 2 national championships. So when you went on to Villanova at that time, knowing that, this team's trying to find its way, this program is trying to have life after Jay Wright, what did you learn from that time in Villanova?
Well, I learned, one, how amazing and how well respected Jay Wright is at Villanova. Obviously, like you said, a great coach. It was just a situation where, I came into a staff that had already been established. A lot of Villanova guys already on staff, former players, guys that worked under Jay Wright.
Yeah.
And, I was excited about the opportunity and was really thankful for the year I got to spend at Villanova, because it's a really special place, great basketball tradition, obviously. Things just didn't work out the way that I hoped. A shot falls here, or if somebody misses a shot there, then maybe we'd still be there. But, didn't make the tournament, and kind of knew going into the situation that, that was probably something we needed to do, obviously, to keep our job, and it just didn't work out that way.
Yeah, and so, for that time to be there in the Big East, have you had run-ins, experiences with Big East basketball before?
I had not. my first college experience really was my first time here at Lemoyne. So the only other run-in I had with the Big East was playing against Villanova when I was my first year here at Lemoyne. But the Big East is a great conference. A lot of great teams, a lot of great coaches in the Big East. So it was exciting and it was fun to be a part of that, for that year.
Yeah, and after that year comes up and you have, how did it work out that Lemoyne came to be again? Is this kind of, Nate Champion sees that there's changes at Villanova and he calls you up and says, hey, before you talk to anybody, talk to me? I mean, how did this happen?
Well, Nate and I have a great relationship. We talk quite a bit. Obviously talked throughout the year last year, and then he had some changes on his staff.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't have anything going at the moment, so he asked me if I'd be interested. I told him I needed some time, and was able to, accept this job. Lemoyne's a great place. A lot of potential here. Like the program, like our team, and just based on the experience I had the last time I was here, it was kind of a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, and like you said, based on the experience you had the last time that you were at Lemoyne, it was a no-brainer. What was it about that experience at Lemoyne with Nate that made you feel like, hey, this is an easy decision. This is a place that has positives to it. We kind of, obviously through our lives, we go to restaurants, we go on vacation, we, work in different places, and we know, hey, I'd go back here. I wouldn't go back there. Why was Lemoyne an easy decision to make twice when it comes to this
Well,
basketball program?
I think one is Nate. He's a great coach. Allows me to have a lot of impact, a voice. But the other reason is, the first time I was here, I put it in. I spent 23 years at the NBA.
Yeah.
I put that year that I was here as one of the top 5 seasons of my coaching experience.
Okay.
We had 5 great graduate seniors that year that made for an exceptional transition to Division One. Made it very fun to be around the team, and it was just a great experience with the guys that we had on that team that year.
You said, with all the years you spent in the NBA, that the season that you had at Lemoyne the first time around was a top 5 ever for you.
Yeah, yeah.
How does that rise up above other NBA seasons?
Well, I don't really. I compare it to success for one, and then the influence that you have on players and people within the program. Like, we had Mike DePersia, Nate McClure, Luke Sutherland, Kyan Cleary, Isaiah Salter, all guys that, that next year I still kept a great relationship with. And those guys for me and the guys that we had on the team that year, Dang, Nate Fouts, all those players, it was just a great group to be around. And it was fun to coach those guys. And, the effort that they gave us in our first year of Division One was it was an exceptional time, exceptionally fun for myself.
Well, I mean, it just comes back to the people. When people say, why do you go here? Why do you go there? It's the people. And you talk about having, certain guys that were on that team at the time, the young guys as well as the veterans that I've been around, I've crossed paths with, I've interviewed, I've spent time with. And, there's a lot of good human beings that you just mentioned. And I think that's definitely, when people say, why'd you go here? Why'd you go there? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? A lot of times, depending on the character of that human being, it comes down to the fact that they just want to be around good people. And I think, you were spoiled. I think Lemoyne was spoiled to have a lot of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, guys that still come around the program today that just pop in here and there, and it's always great to see them.
So as you have kind of gone through this career for yourself and through this time, I know you said that you like the fact that Nate lets you have a voice. I believe I brought my dad to one of the games. where, and I shave my head really low, and I know that you shave your hair here. So, and the importance of this is when Jamie gets upset, the entire head goes red. And so my dad and I were sitting there, and there was a timeout, and you were really in it. And Nate had given you kind of an open opportunity to speak with the team. That's not always something that happens as an assistant coach. So what is that give and take like? And, how do you kind of navigate and pick your spots where it's like, okay, let's see, if I could say a few things, and then you have a coach that lets you speak to the team? Because during timeouts, that's not always the case. Assistants don't always get that opportunity.
Right. I think, well, that year, and my role is a little bit different this year. I'm assuming you're talking about the first time I was here.
Yes.
Yeah. I was in charge of our defense, so I'm sure there was something involved with the defense. But I just try to pick my spots when I feel like that my voice could be used. Obviously Nate's the end all be all, with decision making and everything, but he has given me freedom to use my voice and my experience to help, motivate, coach, and teach these guys.
Yeah, and you said your role is a little bit different. First time around, you were in control of the defense. What is the role this year?
It's more special situations, just helping Nate with everything, offense, defense. We have a great defensive coordinator and Serge Clement, but just helping Nate with everyday preparation for the game, just anything where I can help him and take things off his plate. So,
Jamie Young here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Jamie, having such an illustrious career and having so many spots, I think it would be easy to say, the ones that stick out or certain coaches that stick out. But when you look at everything that you've accomplished up to this point, how would you describe the career that you've had in basketball?
Dream come true. Never I can remember when I graduated college, I wanted to coach basketball. High school, college, and whatever. I just wanted to be a basketball coach. Through some of the connections I had, QB Brown's son, Brendan Brown, who was a great friend of mine who passed away last year, really got me started in the NBA. And, I owe a lot of my career to him. I owe a lot of my career to Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel was the one that hired me with the Celtics. We were roommates at five-star basketball camp years ago, and that relationship helped me get to the Celtics. And then, a big influence on me was my high school basketball coach, Ed Schilling, who's the head coach of Pepperdine at this current moment. And just, he guided me to, help me get into coaching. And those are three people that really had a big impact on me.
And when you look at those three individuals, is there something that kind of ties them together? Something about them that you find to be a similarity that really kind of spoke to you or got through to you?
Well, going back to our earlier conversation, three great people, three people that I connected with really well, and just developed relationships with, not knowing where those relationships were going to take me. But just three people that I knew that just kept in contact with, developed friendships with, and their careers took them to certain places, which helped bring me in, which brought my career to certain places.
And that career going to so many different places, one of those places, starting your coaching career as an assistant coach at Greenville College in Greenville, Illinois from 1998 to 2000. Bring me into that. The first opportunity, bring me out to Greenville. What was that like?
Yeah, well, Greenville actually recruited me. There's a great guy at Greenville College, the athletic director there now, named Doug Faulkner. Tried to get me to come to Greenville, and it was close. At the end of the day, I chose Blackburn College in Illinois. There was a football coach there that was from the same hometown I was from, so it kind of was a deciding factor. But when I graduated college, Doug Faulkner asked me to come over to Greenville to help him coach, and the goal there was I coached at Greenville, and I was going to SIU Edwardsville, getting my master's. So I was there for a couple years, and then I had I think it's 16 hours completed with my master's, and that's when Brendan Brown called me and asked me, we have a small video job with the New Jersey Nets.
Yeah.
If you'd be interested, I think I can help you get it. And I packed up immediately, told the coaches I was leaving Greenville. And at that time, the coach there was George Barber. There was a coaching change. Doug went to become athletic director, hired a great guy named George Barber. And I just packed up. I had a red Cavalier, didn't have much. Stick shift red Cavalier with the windshield wipers didn't work. And I threw everything I had in there, and told my girlfriend at the time, who was actually now my wife, look, I'm going to New Jersey to work for the New Jersey Nets. Hopefully we can make this relationship work. And went out to East Rutherford and have been on the East Coast ever since.
Yeah, and I want to stop. I want to pause for love here for a second. How did that work out? Because to just say like, hey, here we are. It's Greenville, Illinois. I'm getting this work done out here in the Midwest. I got a call to go to the New Jersey Nets. I'm going to the East Coast. I wanna work this out, but I got to take this opportunity. They say long distance is hard, and I got to pause for love because I care about things a lot bigger than sports. So how did that story come to be that girlfriend at the time becomes the wife, with all of the navigating of the fact that the career of a coach can really take you anywhere?
Yeah, well, it wasn't easy. There was some ups and downs. A lot of flights, a lot of car rides to see each other. It was just one of those things where, when you have something good, you have something good. And I'm saying that for me. I don't know if she felt that way, but just through the years, we just kept our relationship going, and then finally, I got the nerve to ask her to marry me. Pretty much about 13 years into that journey.
Yeah.
So, and then she moved out to Boston, and then the rest is history. But it was tough, but we were able to make it work.
Well, I applaud it and I appreciate it, and I'm happy to share that story this morning. Also, when I chased my dreams down to Orlando and went on ESPN radio in Orlando, I had a vehicle with no air conditioning in Florida. You had a vehicle with no windshield wipers in the red Cavalier. So is it safe to say that when you chase your dreams, if you're really doing it right, it has to involve a car that's missing something at some point?
I mean, if you're going to chase your dreams for low salary jobs, then I think that's something that you might have to deal with.
Yeah, I feel like it's a normal part of it, right? Like you have to go through a lot of things, and you went from Division III basketball at Greenville, which is now Greenville University. You went through Division III basketball and then jumped to the NBA. I mean, that's a massive jump. But again, you talk about people, relationships, how you treat people always comes back around. So just to reflect on that, to have such a fantastic opportunity so early on to go from Division III in the NCAA straight up to the NBA and have an opportunity to show the Nets what you got.
Yeah, I mean, it was a low-level job. Started out in a video room just breaking down film for coaches that first year in New Jersey, which led me to then that's when, at that time, the Celtics were going through a coaching change that year. Coach Pitino, who's a great coach, left, and they hired Jim O'Brien.
Yeah.
And that's where my relationship with Frank Vogel came in, where he asked me if I would be interested in being the video coordinator for the Celtics. And I mean, that was honestly a no-brainer. Went up there for 3 days and interviewed, and was fortunate enough to get the job, and then spent 20 years there, going from video coordinator to advanced scout to the longest tenured assistant coach in Boston Celtics history. So, um, it's a dream come true.
Well, yeah, and I mean, we look at, like you said, going to the Jets, or going to the Nets. Pardon me. You call it a low-level role, and when you went to the Nets during the 2001 season, and you live logged Nets games, prepared edits for the coaching staff, analyzed game film, and worked closely with the coaches. From there to then go on to the Boston Celtics during that coaching change, like you said, you were video coordinator from 2001 to 2007, but then became an advanced scout, a role that you had from 2007 to 2011. So how did you catapult from that job that you called, hey, I'm just doing low-level video work, to being an advanced scout?
Well, I think, you look at a lot of people, a lot of coaches in the NBA now, a lot of head coaches. The video role is a way of getting in
Yeah.
to the NBA. I could one of the great coaches in the NBA, Eric Spoelstra, at that time was a video coordinator, and um, Frank Vogel was a video coordinator. So a lot of guys, that's your way of getting into the league, and it's not glamorous work, but it helps prepare you to become a coach. I can tell you that watching all the film, scouting teams, helps broaden your knowledge of basketball, both offensively and defensively. You really learn the NBA. You learn offense. You learn defense. You work with great coaches. I've had the opportunity to work with some phenomenal assistant coaches and some really great head coaches. So it was just a way of getting into the NBA. And I just think if your dream is to become a coach, you can't say no to those opportunities.
So from advanced scout to then Doc Rivers bringing you in and promoting you to be an assistant coach in the summer of 2011, how did that kind of path happen from video to advanced scout to assistant coach? What would you say were some pieces of what you were doing that you felt helped to elevate your opportunity in the NBA?
Well, I think doing a good job with the job that you have. Being a video coordinator with Doc, and now you're working with all the assistant coaches, helping them prep for games. Those coaches, in turn, you're still talking to Doc. And I still have a great relationship and had a great relationship at that time with Doc. But now those assistants are putting words in Doc's ear, like, hey, if you know we have a coaching change, maybe this is somebody you want to elevate. And that's kind of how, at times the NBA works,
Yeah.
internal elevation from guys from different roles, just moving up the ladder.
Well, the thing is, and you talked about it, being the longest tenured assistant in Boston Celtics history, it's hard to stay in one place, especially, if there's coaching changes or there's shifting on the staff and maybe the head man stays the same. But I mean, you went through shifts at Boston. So how do you think that, I mean, how did this all come to be that you got to stay and got to continue the
Um,
opportunity?
yeah, that's a really good story as well. Obviously, Danny Ainge was our president of basketball operations. Really developed a great relationship with him when I was video coordinator, and have some great stories about Danny that we can tell off air at another time. But there was Danny brought Doc in. Doc kept me as video coordinator and obviously hired me as an assistant. But when Doc decided to leave and go to the Clippers, I was actually going to the Clippers with Doc
Yeah.
at that time. However, through conversation with Danny, told me he would like for me to stay. And I was like, Danny, I don't know who the coach is going to be. And actually, during that conversation, my son, wife, and I, being from Indiana, we were driving into Indianapolis at the time.
Yeah.
And Danny said, I think you'll like who I'm getting as a coach. And he's like, you know who he is. You know him. He knows you. And I couldn't, I'm thinking of all these NBA guys. And at that time, Danny's like, I'm trying to hire Brad Stevens. And I was kind of taken back a little bit. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes some sense. And Brad reached out to me and we started talking. And Brad asked me to stay at Boston when he took over. And,
Yeah.
um, it pretty much was a no brainer for me. I called Doc and, told him my situation. He's like, yeah, you got to take that. And the funny story is, so then when Brad hires me, we immediately go to Orlando for Vegas Summer League. And it's the very first game, Jay Larinaga was actually the head coach of our Summer League team. And I was helping out Jay. And it was, pretty much my first interaction with Brad, as a Celtic. And I get a technical foul in the Summer League game.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh boy, this is not a good look with Brad, And we go to practice the next day, and this brings me back to Eric Spoelstra. The Miami Heat were practicing before us,
Yeah.
and they were coming off the court, and our summer league team was coming onto the court, and I'm standing with Brad and Danny and Jay Larinaga, some other coaches, and Eric Spoelstra walks by. He goes, "Jamie, did you get a technical yesterday?" And I was like, yeah. And he's like, that is awesome. So, it helped tone that down a little bit. But,
Yeah.
Working for Brad, phenomenal coach, such a smart guy. Those years with him were phenomenal and learned a ton through working with him. As I did with Doc, obviously working for two great coaches in the NBA.
When you were in Summer League, were you down in Orlando?
Orlando, yeah. Did Orlando, Vegas, yeah.
Do you remember what year?
Oh, we were down there for quite a few years. We would go from Orlando straight to Vegas. That would have been when Doc's first couple of years, we were in Orlando Summer League as well.
So I'm going to tell you something that is going to show that not only is this world small, but the sports world is incredibly tiny. So you were with the Boston Celtics for years down at Orlando Pro Summer League, which I love and I miss. I covered that Orlando Pro Summer League for many years, wanted so badly to be around Brad Stevens because I loved what he did at Butler. So you and I were at those games together.
Well, there you go.
In that tiny practice court area together. Yeah. So we actually were around each other NBA-wise years before we met.
That's great. Yeah.
That's crazy. So you got a tech. I'm trying to think back here and I can't place it. So do you remember why you got it?
Oh, I specifically remember the play. We had Kelly Olynyk. He was his rookie season. We had drafted Kelly Olynyk.
I actually interviewed him, so that's fun. Not to interrupt, but yeah, I remember crossing paths.
And I think they called him for a travel, and I can remember the ref. I won't use his name, but said something to him, and he just wasn't going to have any of it from a young coach like myself, and just turned around and gave me the tea.
Yeah, you might be one of the only coaches to ever get a. Well, this is a good trivia question. How many coaches have gotten technicals in Summer League, and then how many assistant coaches, not head coaches, have got? You might be the only one.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, actually, we talked about this guy off air before. I actually coached our Summer League team in Vegas. We had it was Jaylen Brown was a rookie.
Yeah.
We had Terry Rozier on the team. And Walter McCarty was one of my assistants. And Walter got a technical as an assistant for me in the Vegas Summer League. So.
Yeah. And the cool thing, and I was saying this to you last night, is that, you had, and it's always great to see this. And I tell everybody, everyone has a story to tell, and I'm happy to tell those stories, share those stories, and spotlight people that I appreciate. And I'm looking at my phone right now. because I had so many messages, like so much love, messages, all this stuff come in. So I'm looking at like what post it's coming in on, and it's coming in on the post that I had about you, Jamie, being on the show today, and just the love and the support from people all over. And just so happened to be that of all of the people that have interacted with this post at this point, which is, over 2,000 people that have interacted with us in some way, shape, or form, and it's just a picture of you saying, hey, you're going to be on the show. We had there was a connection there with Walter McCarty, and I saw him pop up, and I was like, wait a minute. And I clicked on his picture, and I'm like, I remember that guy. So can you speak to some of, like you said, summer league, for some people that don't know, like you get to coach as an assistant, you can step up and coach. Patrick Ewing did some things with the Magic. Like there's different people that can kind of show what they're made of, so to speak. So bring me into your experience coaching summer league, and then maybe some of those assistants like Walter that you mentioned along the way that helped you out.
Yeah, well, one of the coaches that I got to work for in summer league, who's a really good friend of mine today, is Teron Liu. And then, there's a lot of great assistants. But my experience coaching in summer league, I can remember the first game I coached, and we were playing the Bulls, and they had a pretty good summer league team, had some good young rookies, guys that are established NBA players today. And we lost an close overtime game. And I was like devastated. Like, what did I do wrong? It was really the first game I coached as a head coach, with NBA experience. And I can remember I got a call from Danny Ainge, and, summer league for certain people is different. Like as a coach, I want to win, the game.
Yeah.
As an executive, Danny wants to see guys play, see rookies and younger guys develop. It's not as much about winning and losing. And Danny calls me up into the top of Thomas and Mack. There's a suite where UNLV plays there, and he's sitting in there by himself with a bunch of boxes, just watching the game.
Yeah.
And he goes, Jamie, listen, I know you're upset about losing yesterday. He goes, but I honestly, I don't care if you win or lose summer league games. It doesn't really make or break me. He goes, what I need you to do is I need you to get Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown the basketball. And maybe we use them in a trade, maybe we don't, but we need to showcase those guys. And the next day we played Dallas, and we won the game. And at halftime, Danny comes down to me, and Jaylen Brown and Terry Rozier both had over 20 points at halftime. And Danny says, hey, you know who had the best half? And I'm like, Jaylen? He goes, no, you did, brother. Just the fact that those two had good halves, and he wanted to see what those, feature those guys, both for our own experience and, summer league's used for a lot of different things. So just a good story about Danny and the kind of executive he was.
Well, yeah, and I love that you share that story, and I appreciate it. And I feel like, and I remember driving when you and I talked, I think like last year or something like that. I was driving, I think there was snow outside, and it was just it was a conversation of just thinking to myself, like, man, you've had so many experiences, and you have like this wealth of experience and knowledge and everything. And I really appreciate it. I also appreciate that you're down to earth, and you've always been kind to me with your time and getting back in touch with me. So there's a lot of places I want to go off of what you just said, but first and foremost, just why are you the way that you are, where you've been able to experience so much, do so much, but you don't present yourself with an ego, and you've always been very gracious with your time with me?
Well, I mean, first of all, humility takes you a long way. Just because, I've coached an NBA or coached at Villanova and won an NBA championship, it doesn't define who I am as a person. first of all, I give, you know, that is, I'm a godly man,
Yeah.
and, just humility to me is big. And, I just don't think there's just a certain way you treat people. Like, to me, like, there's a lot of great coaches in the United States, in the world. And there's a lot of great coaches that are coaching high school who would be great college coaches, who would be great NBA coaches. There's a lot of great college coaches at lower levels who would be, great Division I coaches. So I don't think it's not like it's, obviously I want to get to the highest level. I like being at the highest level, but just the fact of coaching basketball and that's the job. It doesn't really matter like where you're at. It's just who are you affecting and what impact can you have on people.
Well, and and you talk about humility, and that's been a theme of my life recently here. Talking with my priest and looking at a prayer about it, and just what it means to be a humble human being and a person who doesn't make everything about them, and good and bad, right? Like if someone
Right.
treats you poorly, doesn't sit here and go, okay, well, this person wants to end my life and they want to do this and that. It's like it says more about their character than it says about yours. So when you're navigating through this world and you're having all these experiences from day one from Greenville to right now at Lemoyne, what has the evolution of Jamie Young look like? Like if you went back and saw yourself back then to where you are right now, what are those things that you really feel like you've picked up along the way that you constantly are using?
Um, well, one, the thing I think about a lot is, is I lived with my grandma growing up, and when I walk out of the house every day, she'd just say, "Be a good person." I mean, that's the last thing she would always say every day, and that's always stuck with me. That's what I've told my son. When he leaves for school, be a good person, be a good person, be a good person, and I think that's kind of what has helped me get to where I'm at and has helped me being able to do the things that I've done. I don't think I'm John Wooden or anything like that. I think I understand basketball. I think I have a good grasp of um, how teams operate, what teams need to do to win or to lose. But I just think at the end of the day, being a good person, treating people with respect, treating people the right way, just helps you as a person and can help elevate you to get you to where you want to go.
I fought myself from crying. I have tears on the sides of both of my eyes right now because you said you grew up and you spent some time living with your grandmother. I I call my mom's mom G Mama, and when I came back home from Florida, I it was very shortly after. It was April. I'll never forget it. I was home for just a few months, and she had fallen, and so I agreed to go live with her because I mean she had her wits about her, fantastic advice, always was herself, but she had dementia, a light form of it, and I said, I'll be her main person, I'll be her caregiver, I'll live with her. And when you said that she would always say to you, be a good person, be a good person, my grandmother always said, keep your nose clean. She would say, keep your nose clean and be a good boy. And Jamie, I feel like at some point in our lives we should all live with our grandparents for a minute if we're blessed to have the great ones. And I always say she was the best roommate I ever had. A couple of years that I was there, and I'd do anything to hear her voice for a half a millisecond. So living with your grandmother and having that experience with her, what did that do to bring out the best in you and to truly embody being a good person? And I also would love, if you're okay with it, to share her first name so we can give her a little shout out.
Her name was Barbara. She was my dad's mother, and my dad, one of my brothers, and my grandma. We all lived together from the time I was in fifth grade till the time I graduated high school. We lived in the same house. I just think she was an old soul. that, I can remember just every Sunday she would go to church, or if she wasn't at church, I can remember her watching church on TV and, just instilling godly values in us. And you know, just treating people the right way. Look, I'm not perfect. And if you watch me in a game, you would probably say that's a guy that's kind. Competition kind of brings out a different side of you.
Yeah.
But what happens on the court stays on the court, and then when you're off the court, treat people. You treat people on the court the same way you treat them off the court. But competition drives a different thing out of people when you're trying to win a basketball game. But she was just a great person. Had a lot of great old school values that I try to carry with me today.
And shout out to Barbara up in heaven. I hope you're hanging out with G right now. And so give each other a hug from us. We learn a lot of things in our lives and we experience a lot of things. You have had decades in this basketball world and like you talked about, winning an NBA championship, being a part of the Boston Celtics, of any organization for such a long period of time. I know we've spoke about this before, but what do you think of you? To me, you are a young man in the game, even though you've been in it for a long time. So do you think about, as you're here within this season, do you kind of say to yourself, because we always got to be thinking about, what could be and what roads we can take. How do you navigate the now with, hey, these are my aspirations for the future? Do you have some dreams that you haven't attained yet?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing is, I want to be a head coach. I want my own job, want my own team, program, be it college, NBA, wherever, that may be. That is the ultimate goal for me. But if that doesn't come to fruition, I feel like I've had a great career. I enjoy being an assistant. I enjoy being a part of a team. I can't think of a year where I haven't been part of a team, and just, being on a team, having that being kind of like a family, you're with those guys all the time. You're with your team all the time. You spend a lot of time together. I really can't imagine not being on a team right now. But my ultimate goal is obviously to be a head coach, continue to coach, just what I like to do, like to develop relationships, like to, impact people any way I can, and hope to continue to keep doing that for a few more years.
And you said having your own program, that opportunity, that means something to you. Is there always during the season, off season, people say there's phone calls that are made, there's things that happen. Does that happen for you? Is there always kind of a you working the phone, or somebody calling you up and saying, hey, just so you know, this might come to fruition? Because networking is obviously incredibly important in any walk of life.
Yeah. I have an agent. We talk quite a bit. Keep in contact with a lot of people that I've worked with. Always talking to other coaches, hey, this job might open up, or, could you see yourself going here? Could you see yourself going there? So, it's always a challenge to get a head coaching job. But, obviously that's the ultimate goal, and, hopefully it'll work out.
Do you have that sheet of paper folded up and in your pocket of your list of who your assistants would be? I feel like you especially all the years you've been around. Do you kind of keep that close to you?
I don't have a list. And I think that list keeps growing. I have a one in my mind. I know people that I would hire right away.
Yeah.
But the more you're in this as an assistant coach, and the more relationships you develop, that list, I think, gets bigger and bigger, and actually probably would be harder. It becomes harder and harder, to pick guys that you would want on your staff. But I have a good idea of who those people would be, or at least the people that I would ask first.
What is in a world where so many people are trying to get a head coaching job at any level, what would you say is something about you that is unique, that you feel like when you sit down and you share your message, that this is something that you feel like would really hold weight to somebody that would be making a decision? What is it about Jamie Young that sticks out?
Um, I would say my experiences. I think I've been around a lot of great players. Uh, Obviously Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
I've coached good college players. I think I've helped kids. I can think of two in particular that are still currently on the Villanova roster that I feel like I had a big impact on in just 1 year last year and the development of their game. And I've received phone calls from those guys this past season about, hey, I appreciate the help and everything you helped me with last year. It's really helped me this year. So I think just those opportunities that I've had with certain players, with certain coaches that I've worked with, sets me apart. I mean, I've been with, obviously Doc, Brad Stevens, worked with Danny Ainge, but I've worked with tons of assistant coaches who have become head coaches. One guy that I think is a phenomenal coach that I worked years with is Tom Thibodeau, a guy that taught me a lot about preparation. I worked with Frank Vogel. You've mentioned Walter McCarty. I worked with guys like Jerome Allen, Jay Larinaga, Teron Liu, Mike Longobardi's an assistant with the Sixers, Dave Yeager with the Sixers, Brian Adams, a guy that I hired as my video intern in Boston, is now running the defense at the University of Alabama. So I've just been around a lot of different people, and I'm sure there's a lot of coaches that can say this, but at different levels that have had a big impact on me, that I've taken different things from all those different people to help me become the coach that I know I can be.
Well, and it's an amazing story because you meet these people before the world essentially meets them. And I think that, that's always something in life when you're around people and you see their value before, there's this giant spotlight put on them. And it's incredible, the names that you've talked about, names that, when Eric Spoelstra got hired, it was like, well, what's he going to do? And how's he going to do this after Pat Riley? And Brad Stevens, can he hold up in the NBA? And just seeing the decision he made to go from head coach to front office and the success that came from that. And, Danny Ainge, I mean, I had his cards growing up, and then you see him step in, and not every former player that steps into a front office role is making those decisions that turn out to be a champion caliber team and just a super experience. So I feel like God is very intentional. I know he is, and I call them God incidences, not coincidences. And I feel like if you met one or two of the people you mentioned, those would have been God incidences. You met a lot of them, and I think it's going to carry a long way, the fact that you've allowed yourself to gain knowledge and wisdom and experience, and you've remained humble through the process to allow yourself to grow with these people. And I think it's an incredible network that you have, and I think it's going to pay off in the long run for sure.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, coaching will definitely make you humble.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let's you've been gracious with answering my questions this morning here with Jamie Young. And so I'm going to give you an opportunity to play rapid fire, but I'm going to not put you on the hot seat. I'm just going to put myself on it. You can ask me any 3 questions, anything you want, any topic. What do you got for me?
Did you have Indiana or Miami winning the national championship?
I had Indiana winning. It was one of the hardest decisions. I picked Miami to win all of the games that they won in the CFP. I picked Indiana to win all the games they won. Came down to the end. I was 51-49 at times, and ultimately Indiana doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So I picked Indiana.
Well, speaking of a great coach, Vengetti at what the job he did at Indiana, incredible. And a guy that didn't get his first coaching job till he was 50. So
yeah, amazing.
Which is the age I am now. But okay. this is a subject that I like to talk about around here. Will the Bills win a Super Bowl next year?
Oh my goodness. I will say, I'll preface by saying that I was concerned that if they lost this year and didn't make it to the final game, that they might change from Sean McDermott, because just looking at like, hey, we have all this talent, it's not working. But I do want to remind people that the Bills did not make the postseason from 2000 to 2016, and then they made it with Sean McDermott outrageously consistently. So I am sad for him, and I'm sad for his family, and I hope things work out. But will they win next year? Well, Bo Nix is coming back. If he's got that defense, and if the Chargers continue their uptick, shout out to my guy Aronde Gadsden II. And I mean, Baltimore is in a different place now. It's a really tough gamut. I'll say this about the Bills in my little bit of superstitiousness. I don't want to say, if I say if I don't say, yeah, you're going to win it, I think you got a better chance to do it. So I'll say that. But I also think that the AFC is just putting a squeeze on. And there's a lot of teams that are good now that weren't the teams people were thinking of. And if the Patriots continue their uptick, fans are going to just feel like, really? Like, we don't get any break. We had like a 3-year break of the Patriots being good. So I'm not going to say the Bills will do it this upcoming season. I am hopeful at some point soon they can get there. If Josh Allen doesn't go to an NFL title game, there's, that's going to be a travesty of sports.
It's phenomenal. The last one I have for you, who wins the college NCAA men's basketball championship this season?
That's a wonderful question. I love the NCAA tournament, and I love talking with coaches and players all over the country from all different programs, and I've been spoiled to do it. So, I mean, this is tough because obviously I do my bracket as I always do, but if I had to put my feet to the fire right now and I had to circle, I would circle UConn. I would circle Duke because they're just relentless.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm sold on Michigan. And I know that Arizona's undefeated. But I wonder about what life will look like outside of the Big 12 for them. So, I mean, if I had to do it right now and I had to just put my pedal to the metal on a team, I would say that the one that I kind of lean on right now that'll make Dan Hurley really happy is UConn. So,
great choice.
Yeah,
a phenomenal coach.
Yeah, he's definitely building what could be a dynasty.
Yeah.
With the Huskies. So with that being said, Jamie Young here, college and pro basketball coach, NBA champion, and somebody I always appreciate. We open the door. I think the next time we talk, I want to have a fireside chat about getting deeper into these coaches that you've been around, especially early on in their careers. But I love my time with you, Jamie, and I always pray nothing but the best for you and your family, and get that son of yours better so he can go out there and ball out again.
All right. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. God bless.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
See you.
Yep.
That coming once again from Jamie Young here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We're going to take a quick fast break, and when we come back from the fast break, we'll have the opportunity to speak with Mary Grimes, the head coach of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team that is 7-1 currently in the America East, 15-6 overall. A lot of success coming in short order with Mary Grimes leading this program. We'll be back to talk about it right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. It is my honor and my privilege to be with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And speaking of an honor and a privilege, I am here picture with Miss Mary Grimes, the head coach of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball program that is currently having an amazing, strong, I'm going to call it a mean streak. There's some flavor and some fire to this team in the America East and overall. Miss Mary, how we doing?
Doing well, Dan. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And, to look at what you've been able to do in short order with this team, just what was it about Binghamton and this program when you were looking at the next step in your career that made you believe that there was obviously something here that you could build upon and really turn into something fantastic?
Yeah, I spent most of my career here in the Northeast, and I know the teams. I know all the New York State teams and what they are able to do, and I just felt like this was a place that was ready to grow and ready for me to grow as a coach. And so I think the pieces were in place. The new athletic director, Eugene Marshall, he kept an eye on my season when Lemoyne went Division II to Division I. So he was well aware of my coaching abilities. And so for me at that time, it wasn't too far away from Syracuse, and my Northeast ties. So it was just the right timing. It was the right fit for my family for sure.
Well, yeah, and like you said, you paid attention and you looked at programs that you felt like were in a good place and opportunity to have, a rise. So when you went and you spoke with Eugene Marshall about this opportunity, hindsight 2020, looking back, what was it about his leadership and then physically being on campus that brought that even more to a reality that this would be the right place for you?
Yeah, for sure. I think first and foremost, a lot of the players that I was recruiting at Lemoyne, they were recruiting at Binghamton. So I was very familiar with a lot of the players that were on the team. And then, like I said, Eugene, he reached out to me. He reached out and just said, "Hey, would you be interested?" And I wasn't sure who he was, what he was about. I know he had just gotten the job at Binghamton. So I did my research and talked to my people, and he's about winning. And that's what I was about. And not just winning on the court, but winning, in all facets of a program, in the classroom, in life. So I think it was a fit in that respect. And the university is just growing. I mean, there's construction all over campus. And when you see that, you know that they're investing not only in athletics, but in, this whole student population. So you always want to be on campuses that are growing and making strides across campus.
And when you came in last season, you kept some of the student athletes that were there. And then, of course, brought in some with you, had some connection with Lemoyne. So with the current makeup from last season to this season of having players that were with Binghamton and then players that you brought in, just having that dance and that molding of the two, of putting your roster together of players that were there as well as players that you brought in, and just what that's turned into.
Yeah, I think last year it was more just building the culture, building the understanding that this is what a winning culture looks like. And it wasn't always, at the end of the day, the wins and losses, but it was the getting to class on time, getting to practice on time, diving on loose balls, those winning plays, getting offensive rebounds, getting defensive rebounds. So it was more or less that. And that was, something that I think the Lemoyne players with Kaya Good and Leah Middleton were able to help, the Binghamton players understand that this is how we win. This is what we do to win. And so now, fast forward to this year, I think the returners had a good understanding of that. They understood that, okay, that's what we need to do. So now what do we need to do to get that next step? And it's about the things we're doing on the court, executing and understanding the details of the game. From game to game, especially right now, because the America East is very talented. On any given night, people are battling. I mean, there was 2 overtime games. We had a bye, but there are 2 overtime games on the weekend. So it's a battle day in, day out. But it was just about laying the foundation last year. And then this year, getting into those intricacies of, how to win each game because every opponent is different.
Yeah, and you spoke about Leah Middleton and Kaya Good and having them with you, as well as on the coaching staff, Latoya Baker and Emma McDonough. How important was that to have people that could come into Binghamton and say, be, an extension of your voice and say, this is how Mary does things. This is how we experience. This is how we understand her. If you don't, get the message this way, this is how we've been able to implement it. Just how important it was for you to have extensions of yourself that you feel like have bred the success that you're having right now.
Yeah, I think it definitely gave me a comfortability with the staff, with Latoya and Emma, so they understood the behind the scenes, the behind the scenes of this is how we want to travel, and then getting Latoya caught up to this is how we're going to coach. But she was able to be a player coach and say, hey, kind of running the same offense, we're running the same defense. This is what's helpful on the court. So, that's how she was able to assist. And then Leah and Kaya. She was mic'd up this weekend. She on Instagram, and she's like, "I've been doing this drill for 4 years. I know what's going on." So, so being able to translate that and understand, like, because I don't always give them the answer. I say, "Okay, we're going to do a layup drill," and then I let them figure it out. And so with Kaya and with Leah, they can give them those small tidbits of information. Okay, hey, we can't dribble in this drill. We're going to make this goal of our time or our score if we don't dribble, and we'll push the ball up. So, I don't always give them the answers, but them knowing what to do and those little intricacies had helped on the court.
Well, and having that trust as a coach to say, I'm going to bring you this far, but I want to see what you do with it. In your years of coaching and mentors that you've had and whatnot, how did you develop that, not, the micromanaging and like needing the control, but to say, this is what I'm going to do to this point, and then I'm going to let them show me. How did you develop that part?
Yeah, for me, it's about empowering them as young women, and that, will translate into their lives. So, I'm very hands-on at the beginning, like this is the way we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. And then at some point in the season, I kind of just step back and say, okay, you understand this is the situation. What offense are we going to run? And so I start giving them the power to call sets or double team the low post. It's probably happened right about now where I just say, okay, you guys are going to make the decision on what we're running. But it also gives me an idea of their understanding of the game. Are they thinking what I'm thinking? And if not, we're going to have a conversation about it. So, for me, it's about empowering them and giving them the tools that they need to make choices. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to be making choices in our lives. So how can I help them on the court, make decisions, and then in their life, make decisions down the road?
So when it comes to the game itself, like you said, you're in practice, you're implementing things, you're giving all the information at the beginning, at the onset, but eventually you're kind of pulling back and saying, okay, let's see what they do. When you're in the game itself, what does that look like for you as a coach? When the game is tight, we're into the final quarter here, and maybe it's a 3-point, maybe it's a 5-point game. How much of this is you looking at them saying, the plays we run, what we do in these situations, you know what to do, versus, okay, give me that board and we're going to draw something up and I'm going to remind you? How much is reminding and setting something up versus saying, okay, I've empowered you. I know that you know what to do. We've run this in practice a million times.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably 50-50. Right now, this is a time of year where everybody's working on end of game situations. So I think that helped us at the Bryant game, and the staff has done a really good job of, having those one minute situations where we're up or where we're down and like, this is what we're running. But I would say probably the most successful person, and I was like smiling when she finally got it, is Latoya Baker. Like her senior year, she's running down the court and she's like, Coach Grimes, can we run this set? And I'm just like, sure. And so I trusted her, and she understood the situation where she was just like, we're going to run this. And yes, I might be the first option, but this is what's going to happen if my option isn't open. So, it took her, 3 years to get to that point and understanding the game. But I think that's why she's coaching now, because she loved the game and because she understood what was going on in the court. So, if we can get them to that point where they understand and they can start saying, okay, this is what the defense is doing, and I don't always have to make those decisions, it'll be a great day. So it's about 50-50.
Yeah. Here with Mary Grimes this morning, speaking about the world of coaching, the success of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball program, here in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. It seems like Kaya has been with you for a million years. But
Yeah.
Then you look at the court and you double take if somebody missed a moment because Clarissa's here now. So, I mean, I think it's fair. I mean, we're going to extend it's been a good season, and we've obviously had a lot of good on the court. So bring me into that. The fact that Kaya just seems to be the timeless guard that's always there, but now we have Kaya and Clarissa, and you have Clarissa hopefully for a very long time. So there's something special about that story.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I saw them win a state championship together, and that was my first, I guess, interaction with Clarissa, because I saw Kaya play AAU, and obviously she's older, so she was playing on a different team. So I was like, oh, I like those skills, and then I was able to see Clarissa throughout Kaya's career, and they're a little bit different. Clarissa's a little bit more feisty. She shoots the three really, really well. She can play the point, so. She's got a little bit of different dimension to her game, and they have a rapport on the court that they understand each other. They know what's going on, but they also give each other space off the court. They don't always have to be at each other's houses. So it's cool to see. It's cool to see them, interact with each other on and off the court, and two goods is pretty good.
Yeah, and it's been incredible, like I said, to be able to see that and see this family grow. You said that they both won a state title together, but right now, Binghamton, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but you keep going the way you're going, they'll have an opportunity to win another title together. Is that ever on your mind, thinking about that?
Oh yeah, it's always on our mind. That's always our goal at the beginning of the season. That's always our goal every year, is to win a championship. And there's some intricacies throughout the season that we need to do to get those goals. And but it's always in the back of our mind that we want to cut down nets. So the players are well aware the standard that we've presented with them, the goals that we have. So. It's good to have people who have already won on the team, because then they know what it takes to win those other games and win those championships. So, you got to recruit winners.
Yeah, and in the recruiting that you did and building this team and putting it together, we have seen that, I mean, there's people can stumble into things at times and somebody says, oh, everybody gets lucky. But the thing about your career is that you don't stumble into it multiple times. And I don't believe that it comes down to luck when it's consistently good, not occasionally great. So when you do reflect on everything you've been able to do, the places that you've been, and coming from Xavier, going to Lemoyne, becoming a head coach, being at Binghamton, and seeing the rise of this, what is it about your coaching and your development that you look at today and say, these are the pillars that I feel like have really gotten me to this point? What are some of those things that are the consistent things that show that success is not just sheer luck that some people feel like it is sometimes, but as you know, Mary, when people think you're lucky, it's usually because you put in a ton of years of work that nobody saw.
Yeah, for sure. I started out my career at Lemoyne, and I definitely was a young coach who was just like, what is going on? We got to go drive to DC from Syracuse. We got to sit in the gym all day. I didn't know what was going on. So my first couple years, it was definitely a learning curve there. But, I think at each one of my stops, I was able to hone everything that was needed to become a head coach. At Syracuse, Q is an unbelievable recruiter, and so we got the players in that needed to be there to help us win. And at that time, the Big East was crazy. I mean, we had Louisville, we had Notre Dame, we had DePaul, we had South Florida, we had West Virginia. So there was never an easy night, and you needed to recruit players that were going to battle day in and day out. So I really think I was able to hone my recruiting skills at Syracuse, and then people might have thought it was crazy to go from Syracuse to Albany, but I have family ties in Albany, so that was a huge part of the move. And at Syracuse, I was the third assistant, and then at Albany, I was able to be the first assistant. So it was a definitely a good move for me there. And Coach Abe is one of the best X and O people in the business, and so understanding the game, understanding situations. I learned a ton there about X's and O's, stuff that we still use today. And so, adding those two with the recruiting, the X's and O's, I was able to come back with Gina Castelli and be her top assistant and just get an overall program view, what it takes to be a head coach, because it literally was me, her, and our GA. So a lot of decisions that need to be made, a lot of things that we needed to do, those are the conversations we're having, about travel, about, players, and, how to get them to buy in. So getting that overall program view. And the same thing with at Xavier. I think, COVID definitely messed up a lot of people, but just building a culture of winning. We may not have done it on the court per se, but when I got there, their GPA was below a 3.0, and by the time I left, it was above a 3.0. So we were able to build that culture of education and winning culture off the court at Xavier. And I think all those stops with the recruiting, the X's and O's, and building a culture of off court success was able to lead me to where I am today.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you look at the sum of your experiences and everything you have to get you to where you are. And being at UAlbany, you got a taste of the America East, and here you are again with this. And in the America East, as we're currently talking, 7-1, but your record overall is 15-6, which means you went 8-5 in non-conference play. Bring me into that non-conference schedule. It was a gamut. It challenged you, and some coaches shy away from it, some don't. You were willing to go on the road to Michigan, who was ranked 6th in the country at the time. You were willing to go to Akron and won that game by 1 point in double overtime, to the University of San Diego, going out to the West Coast, and of course Syracuse, which is only an hour drive up, but having the history there and the connection that you had, and some other schools like Buffalo and Colgate in the state of New York. Bring me into that non-conference and getting a winning record in that first half of the season.
Yeah, you definitely want to challenge your team and get them different experiences throughout the non-conference season. And I think our non-conference schedule showed that, going on the road to Akron was unbelievable, and going into, double overtime where we needed everybody. We need everybody to compete to win that game. and so some of those things that we saw in the Akron game, now we're seeing against maybe NJIT. So, getting them to have a whole gamut of different experiences and, playing at top echelon. I mean, we went down to New York City and we played Columbia, who was in the, NCAA tournament last year. So understanding like, okay, this is what we need to do and this is how we need to play and this is who we're going to be competing against in the postseason. Same with Syracuse and Michigan. Those are the teams that we're going to face. And it's funny because, I was talking to my daughter Mia, as you know, affectionately. I was just like, Michigan's going to probably be an Elite Eight, Final Four team. I said, if we make the tournament, that's the type of team we're going to have to play. And she was just like, really? And I was like, yeah. So having those type of teams, where you play them early and get that experience, because we're hoping for the best seed we can. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a 15, 14 seed. So you're going to be playing those Power Four schools, in the NCAA tournament. So how can we, get that experience early on so when we do make it, we're ready.
Well, and that's the thing is you of course want to win every game, but you put that non-conference schedule together to give you that opportunity to say who we see at the end. Let's see them now in the beginning. Just
Right.
why you find that to be so valuable for your team, and what do you feel like this specific squad this season took from those challenges on the road and making sure that they're going and going up against this, group of schools that they very well could see again if they do everything they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, and it's about the experience as well. Not only, the on court and the type of players that we're gonna, face, the taller ones, the quicker ones, how we can compete against them. Going out to San Diego, is different type of basketball. And so, as we had some players that had never seen the, Pacific Ocean. So having those experiences outside of basketball, we were able to go to Michigan and go to the big house. I mean, I had never been to a big house. Yes, I played it at the arena before in my, because I grew up in Detroit and I was able to, go to their games and compete there. But, going to that football stadium, I had never been there. And so, it was a great experience for me. Just personally, my son's named Braylon after Braylon Edwards. He played football at Michigan. So it was a personal thing for me as well. And even being in New York City, it's funny because we kind of book in the week. We were in New York City one week and we went down to, Rockefeller Center. And then the next week we're at the Pacific Ocean, so not only that we, have the experiences on the court, we're able to have experiences off the court just to help them grow as young women as well.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, I mean, that other side of it, right? They're athletes, they're students, but they're also human beings that are going to go through college one time. So seeing this and having this schedule put together with your staff and looking at it, do you ever kind of take a moment with it and say, I wish I had moments like this. I'm happy that Binghamton allows us the opportunity to do this, knowing that these young women are going to be able to see, I mean, literally coast to coast, like you just spoke about.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it in its totality, not only, games that we can be competitive in and hopefully win, but, the whole experience that we're going to have. And I think, we set it up where even the FDU tournament, we played back to back, and that was tough for our team. But it also gave us a chance to say, hey, we might have a day in between once we get to conference, but the games are going to come at us just as fast and we have to be prepared. So, the whole thing, I think it was set up just to understand and figure out who we are and how far we can push them and how far we need to grow as a team.
Well, and I think, too, when you talk about playing those tournaments like the FDU Christmas Classic and whatnot, is that a purposeful thing for you to say, hey, NCAA tournament-wise, there's such a fast turnaround that I want to play some of these mini tournaments so that you're ready to have your body ready for opportunities when we do make it to the NCAAs?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime we can get that experience beforehand, so we can always reflect back and say, hey, this is what we did and this is what we like, but this is what we got to get better at. You try to take those opportunities as a coach to, help your team grow and be ready for the postseason.
7-1 at the time we're talking in the America East, 4-game winning streak, 1 loss, and then 3-game winning streak. That team that only lost in the America East, UMBC, and you got them next. Just how important that is to make sure that you write the score here and move on, because that would mean that you have a win over every team that you faced in the America East by avenging that. So just bring me into UMBC coming up and the way the season's gone so far in conference.
Yeah, that was a tough game. UMBC at UMBC is a tough place to play, and they're a scrappy, scrappy team. I think there was some things like we talked about, games that, we played in a non-conference. FDU is a scrappy team and things like that. So we're able to reflect on that. And so definitely, I think we fought, it ended up being a 6-point game,
Yep.
for whatever reason, we're the comeback kids. That I guess that's what we're going to be labeled as. I just have to accept it, whether I want to or not.
Right.
So we were able to fight and battle back, but not get over the hump. And I think, playing at home is huge. The event center, once it gets rocking, it's a great place to be at. It's a great place to play. And I think there's a level of comfortability for our players. So, I think they understood that we came up short at UMBC. And so those things that we need to focus on, just the hustle plays. It wasn't about making shots or anything like that. I think, we're just going to have to be a lot tougher, and we're going to have to get those hustle plays, because that's what it came down to at UMBC.
Well, like you said, a 6-point game. And then the victories, we look at NJIT on the road, that was a 4-point game. Vermont at home was a 4-point game, those both being victories. Over UMass Lowell was a blowout in your favor, 80-52. But we look at the Albany game, that was 2 points. The UMBC that we spoke about was 6 points in the loss. The New Hampshire game was 8. And then we have 5 points in the win over Maine. And in the overtime win, most recently at Bryant University, that was 2 points. So more often than not, this is a 1 to 2 possession conference. And like you said, you're the comeback kids and you're going to have to deal with it either way. But just what you could say about the resolve of the team and their ability to bend but not break in games that we know kind of feel like NCAA tournament games coming down to the last shot or two.
Yeah, I think that's something that we tried to get the players to buy in and understand last year. And I think that's why it's carried over to this year, is like we got to fight for 40 minutes. We never give up. We're going to keep fighting to the end. And so I think, it took a little bit for the returners and the team to gel last year to understand that. But I think a lot of those games we were in last year and we came up short. So those are experiences as well that we had, that we were just like, okay, how do we get over that hump? How do we get over it mentally, to win those close games? And I think now it's coming to fruition. It's those games that they're understanding that we're not going to give up. We're never out of any game. I mean, we could go back to the Akron game, and I think that was a huge turning point for our team to understand that, okay, this is possible. Even though, like, in practice, I'm like, okay, we only got 30 seconds left and you're doing this drill and we got to make 40. You guys are not close, but it doesn't matter. We're not going to give up. We're going to do our best to get to that goal. I think it's all come to fruition. But I mean, the league is very, very competitive right now. I think it's probably the most competitive it's been in years. And so, like I said, there's double overtime games, last second shots, Vermont beat NJIT on a last second shot. So, everybody's playing really, really well now, and the league is very talented.
Well, and that obviously the way you play in this conference, it comes down to seeding, then it comes down to a conference tournament and the opportunity for an automatic bid to the house. So, I mean, for March Madness and the NCAA tournament. So, with everything in front of you, what has been the biggest prideful moment of this team for you this season as a coach, as they've developed, they've risen? And I mean, let's be real about it. And I'll say it here on the show comfortably. If people aren't paying attention to Binghamton women's basketball, that might come back to bite them.
Yeah, I would say for us, probably the Vermont win at home. I think, Vermont has been historically a unbelievable program. And so for us to get that game at home in the fashion that we were able to get it, I think that was a monumentous, moment for us, just mentally to get over that mental hump. Like I said, I've been in the Big East where we've had to face UConn, and sometimes they just stare at you, and it's like the UConn effect. It's kind of like the same thing with Vermont. It's like, you have to get over that mental hump first and foremost so you can actually beat them, at the end of the game. So I think that was a huge moment for our program to get the win at home.
Like you said, I mean, Vermont's been the big bad wolf, and obviously you and Vermont are at the top of the America East right now. Final note here, Mary, as we get set up for the rest of this season and a hopeful positive continue to move forward, and hopefully not a possession or two at the end of the game so that we can keep Mary's heart rate down a little bit here. But I do want to give you the opportunity to lead us into our next guest. Just what you want to say about Yanniah Boyd, who's been on the show before, and what she brings to the program.
Yeah, Janiyah has been bought in since day one. I think she was hungry to, just compete and get on the court. But I think this year she took it another step. She's a captain for us and she's bought into everything that I've selling. And she, does a really good job of speaking that to our freshmen. We have a really big freshman class and say, okay, this is Coach Grimes' expectations. Not only are you going to be accountable, but I'm holding myself accountable. So really happy that she's on the team and being able to grow as a leader. And things are going to turn around for her on the court. I think she's put so much pressure on herself that it's like you just gotta just go play and be you. So it's always a good thing to have when the player wants to be great. But we're just gonna be calm and do what you do, Nye.
So that being said, Mary Grimes, for you, for the team, for Mia and Braylon, have a wonderful game upcoming, and obviously I know plenty more great things to come for Binghamton University. I'm happy I got to meet you on the day that you were hired at Lemoyne, see the success you had there, and now to see that success grow to another level at Binghamton University. So I know there's much more to be had, but thanks for the work that you do, and I'll look forward to talking with you soon.
All right, thanks, and go Bearcats.
Take care. That coming once again from Mary Grimes here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And Go Bearcats is right in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats. We are here with you every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, what we call Bearcat Time Weekly, with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the show to tell the stories of Binghamton University and their own personal stories along the way. Here where sports meets life inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We're going to take a quick step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Yanniah Boyd back on the broadcast, and happy to have her right after this. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. We want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. You can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, everyone in the world is going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing. You go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Caz location, and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Happy to be with you, as always, here where sports meets life. and of course, inside of our time with Binghamton University is always very important to me. So I am picture in picture right now with Yanniah Boyd. No stranger to the broadcast. She's been here before, and she's back here in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University from the women's basketball team inside the 2025-26 season. Yanniah, welcome back. I was about to say welcome back and welcome home at the same time because this is home for the Bearcats. So welcome back and welcome home.
Thank you.
So, I mean, this season has been amazing. And there's so many more games to be played. There's so much more opportunity out there. It's all in front of you. But bring me into what you've taken away from a season where this team goes 8-5 in non-conference, 7-1 so far in conference, a winning record in both halves of the season up to this point, and you're in control of your own destiny.
Yeah, it's definitely been, I don't even want to call it a roller coaster because I don't feel like we've had a lot of ups and downs. But it's definitely been like something that we thrive on, that we're excited, like building up after win after win. I think we're using that to feel ourselves, and it's more like we have like this thing about belief, and I think every game that we go by and we see, okay, we got that one, we can get this one and that one, our belief factor grows, and it's just pushing us to get to that America East Championship.
Well, and you said, I mean, as you continue to do this, the more you see these wins come through in these games and where you're on the right side of things, it continues to build that confidence. But in order to build that confidence, you have to do things within the games to find your way. So it's cyclical, right? You win those games, it helps the belief. You win the game, it helps the belief, and it keeps going around. But what are you doing as a team to win these games? What are some of those things that you feel like are helping you gut it out in games that come down to one or two possessions?
We've really been focusing on sticking together and just keeping like a strong, positive mindset. I think we've done a good job of not being frantic in those situations where it's like one or two possessions. And we've been in them so many times this season that I feel like we're comfortable in being poised in those moments to finish the game. Like the NJT game, then the next one we had was Vermont, and then that was like up to the last second with they were inbounding the ball on the side on the baseline, and then we had what was our Maine. I think they did the same thing, maybe possibly, but like a lot of them comes down to like those last second plays, and since we've been in them, we know how to react and finish the game through. So I think even though we don't want to always be close, we'd rather crush teams.
Yeah.
I think having those moments and like those comeback game moments is really going to prepare us for playoff season, whereas other teams haven't really gone through what we've gone through.
Well, and being in those situations and being in close quarters with a team at the end of the game, end of the fourth quarter, when you look at those moments, one of them being Vermont, Mary Grimes, your head coach, spoke with me about how when she was in the Big East and you would face off against UConn, and she said there was this UConn factor where they would look at you and you could like feel it and sense it. And if you let it bother you, it kind of became the big bad wolf. Like you have to get past the fact that it's UConn. And she said Vermont in its own way in the America East kind of has that element to it because they are the big bad wolf. So what was it about Vermont when they came to town to Binghamton that you didn't let the whole Vermont's a tough team, Vermont can win this conference? What was it about this year that you said, okay, if Vermont stares at us, we're going to stare back. Nothing's going to change?
I think one thing was like that hunger. They swept us last season, and those games we had been down, but then we came back and we fought close. So it was like if we had gave that more, if we had fought like we did in the fourth quarter of those games and we did that the whole game, we knew we could come out on top. And like Vermont is a great team, but we know that we can compete with them, and we did, and we pulled out. So now we have to do that again the second time we play them, but not just with them, with every team. So it was just, again, that confidence factor. Like our coaches say, they tie their shoes the same way that we do. So it's like, yes, they're a great team, but we're an even greater team, and just believing that again ourselves that we can do that is a strong thing for us to continue to build off of.
Well, and the difference, Yanniah, of confidence versus cockiness. How does this team stay confident and focused and believing in themselves as opposed to feeling themselves, so to speak?
I think as a team, we keep ourselves level-headed. Our coaches keep us level-headed. We know that yes, we're a good team, but we're not great yet. Like
Yeah.
we've won, but we haven't completely proven ourselves. And there's even when we do prove ourselves, there's still more to prove. Like, okay, yeah, we beat Vermont. We got to celebrate that. Then we had to move on to the next game. And then we beat Lowell, and then we got to move on to the next game. We ended up losing to UMBC. We got a little too high, and that was the moment that we needed actually to experience. But then we fell back on track, and then we won our next few straight, and we haven't lost yet again in conference. So just holding ourselves accountable and staying level-headed and keeping a straight head.
After speaking with Mary just a few moments ago, she spoke about the fact of how close these games are, and she's like, "We're the comeback kids." You know, that's just how it's been. At some point this season, have you thought with your teammates that maybe you should keep Mary's heart rate down and not make it come down to the last 2 minutes of a game?
Yes, I think she would really appreciate that. But it's also I feel like those moments is it's like the thrill that you get out of it, like the adrenaline of like going back and forth. But obviously, we don't want to continue to do that because sometimes
No.
we might not get the outcome we want. But I think with this team, we have a lot of fight to continue on and know like we come back from a 20-point loss. We're not going to lose the game now. We got to finish it and pull it through. Um, so definitely we'll try to work on keeping her blood pressure low, so that she doesn't have to stress out a lot.
Well, and there is something to be said though. I mean, obviously, like you said, you wanna beat a team handily, right? But in these close games, you're coming out on the winning side of things 7 out of 8 times in the conference in the America East, and that one loss to UMBC on the road was by 2 possessions, 6 points. So another close game. Even though you don't want it to be that tight, the team's gutting it out. And this
Yeah.
Binghamton women's basketball team is doing what some Binghamton's women's basketball teams in the past didn't do, which play in a close game, but not get over the hump. What are some of those things that you feel like you and your teammates are doing that are helping you turn that corner to turn the tide of what Binghamton women's basketball is?
We work a lot. A lot of us get our individuals in the extra work. We apply what we do in those into practice, and we apply what we do in practice into games. Um, our coaches always make practice a lot harder because then they're like it'll be easier in the games. Um, and then we lift each other up. I think this group is really close, and we all know what each other's capable of. So it's always like if you see someone's confidence isn't high, you have your teammate there to bring you up higher. So I think that factor is what helps.
Yeah.
And I feel like our split of upperclassmen and underclassmen is like a good equal balance for us. Like our underclassmen are so hungry. Like those are probably one of the hardest working freshmen that I've seen in a really long time. Um, so to know that they had that want and will to contribute to what we're looking to do here at Binghamton is just something that I appreciate myself as an upperclassman because I know like all right like they're good like we don't got to worry about them and our upperclassmen like we know what we have to do how we have to handle things so it's just that mix to stay together and work together.
Yeah, and Yanniah, like you said, I mean, having the mix of upperclassmen, you being one of them as a junior, and having a bunch of freshmen. Mary spoke about that too, having a big freshman class that's hungry to get after it. What has it been like to have the upperclassmen side of it that you're a part of, but then also to try and grow? How have you tried to mentor this freshman class to say, hey, whether you're playing or not, this is what we're doing, this is who we are, and you're going to have to carry this torch for the future. Like, we're not looking to win this year. We're looking to win for the next 100 years, so to speak.
Uh, well, like I feel like I can relate to like the freshmen a lot. Like my freshman year, I didn't play a lot, so I was able to watch and observe. And even though like it's not the best feeling, like you just want to be out there, that grows that hunger. So then I've talked to them a lot about it, like, and I'm always telling them like if you need someone to talk to, or if you want to get extra work, or if you have a question, like I'm always there, like to be that person, that upperclassman as your back. Um, and they're very receptive, which is something not a lot of people have, like the ability to take something in, get it through, and understand it, no matter like if tone is not how you like it or whatever. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty much it. Just being able to relate to them and hold them accountable, and even they hold us upperclassmen accountable. Like they're so energetic. When their energy's high, and you might like us upperclassmen, we're more, I don't want to say on the quiet side, but more like mellow and poised. But then they lift our energy up too, so they definitely bring that factor for us, and we are a big energy team, so they play a big part.
So even if they're not on the floor, they're helping to kind of be that flame to ignite the energy of the upperclassmen.
Mhm.
I love
For
that. So you said, hey, when I was a freshman, I didn't play that much. You're trying to help the freshmen now, and you can relate to them.
Mhm.
And you want them to listen to you, to be open to take in information because you want to help them. When you were a freshman, did you take in information? Did upperclassmen come to you, and how receptive were you? Because now you're on the other side of it, and God has this amazing way of putting you in a situation and then flipping it so that you can kind of see, did I do it the right way? Could I have done it better? So when you were a freshman, how did you handle not playing as much? Did you take advice from other people? And just what you're asking them to do now, were you doing it back then?
Um, like I said, at first it sucked because I went from, like high school starter, like all that stuff, playing all the time, like the go-to. And then coming in freshman year, like not play, like I played a little bit, then there were games that I sat, and I remember my first full game sitting, and I was just like, this is like different. I've never done that before. So obviously I was upset. But then now that I look back at it, I see it as I got to like watch the game. Like I had a year to watch it and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And the person that talked to me a lot, who I looked up to a lot, was Danae Bowman. She's from Maryland, all that stuff. So like she was very open. We were always talking, like very uplifting. And she always saw that like I was always in the gym. I just stayed in the gym. She knew that it was like it would pay through. And now she always texts me and congratulates me and always wish me the best of luck. So I definitely appreciate her for that. So oh my gosh, hold on. So all the love. But yeah, I think I was receptive to her words. Like she was definitely a good person to ask questions to. Um, she was probably like the main one, and then like with the coaches, I'd watch film and all that stuff. But I feel like there's always, I still could have done more to like change my outcome a little bit, which again, I can't get that back, but now I know and all that.
Well, you mentioned one of my favorite people to ever come through Binghamton. I've already pushed for her to be in the Hall of Fame. I've done it since she was still on campus when I was saying, okay, so she's getting in the Hall of Fame, right? So Danae Bowman, like you said, she was one of the people that spoke with you and continues to help you and be positive and be, a good mentor to you. What do you want to say if Danae was watching and listening right now? What would you like to say to her from what you learned from her and your experience and maybe what you try to pay forward from what she gave you?
I would say thank you, for being like pretty much an older sister to me here my freshman year. Um, Thank you for being a good role model on the court. I think she was an amazing captain. She was someone that I like to watch her play
Yeah.
and see how she was able to get to her spots and score and defend and all that. So thank you for that, Danae. And I wish her the best of luck overseas. She's killing it right now. And I miss her. And she still said that she has to come back and see me. I'm waiting on that. She has a year. So hopefully we can get that done soon.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll come back. And she is from Maryland. She hails from Maryland. So do you. I know we talked about your backstory the last time you were on the show, but what did you not say about Maryland the first time around when we were talking? What do you want? What kind of sticks with you? Like when you're in Binghamton, because I know you're in the Northeast still, but what is it about Maryland that maybe you miss, maybe is a little bit different than upstate New York?
It definitely isn't as cold.
True.
I was just home this past weekend, and I mean it was still cold.
Yeah.
But it's not single digits down back at home. It's probably like 30s at the moment. I don't know. I feel it's kind of the same, at least where I'm from. So I can't say there's much different. But okay, also the food. The food's a lot better. I do miss that. Not too much here up in Binghamton to grub one. So that's it, really. I feel like I covered a lot of the basketball last show, so I won't mention that again.
So, the food. What in Maryland do you miss the most?
Okay, I know like the generic answer you'd expect for me to say would be like crabs or something,
Yeah.
but like there's this restaurant back at home called Lucky Corner, and it's like a Vietnamese restaurant, and I swear every time I go home, I'll probably get it like 2 or 3 times. I it's just like comfort food to me. I don't know. There's something about it that I can't find up here in Binghamton. Um, so that's my go-to. And of course, like Chick-fil-A, we don't have that here yet. They say it's supposed to come 2026 later on, so we'll see if that happens. They said that since I was a freshman,
Yeah.
but just those two things pretty much. And my mom's cooking, so.
Well, and Chick-fil-A, I can say this. I've been a part of partnering with the opening of 4 of them in upstate New York. One, and they're all this area. So when you came up to play Syracuse, there's one in Cicero. There's now one on Erie Boulevard, which is not like a few minutes from the Dome. There's one in Clay, and there's one in Watertown. So I waited over a decade. So, hopefully you don't have to wait that long and you can get it while you're still there playing. But you said your mom's cooking. So what's your mom's first name?
Yasira.
Yasira?
Yes.
So Yasira sends you a care package. What food and dessert, if she makes dessert, I don't know if she does, but what's in the care package from Yasira, your mom, if you were to get something today?
Okay. It'd be coconut rice,
Okay.
macaroni salad, um, chicken, probably just like baked chicken, maybe a little bit of shrimp, and I'll throw in mac and cheese in there too. Like that's a good meal that I can always like go back to with her. And then she's not really big on dessert.
Okay.
I'd have to ask my grandmother for that, but she has the dinner.
What's grandma's name?
Kathy.
So what's Kathy making for dessert?
Oh, strawberry shortcake.
Okay.
That, I don't know what she does. I don't know, but there's something about that cake that hits home every time.
So all I'm going to say to Kathy and Yasira this morning on the show, if you're watching and listening, is send a care package to Yanniah, but just double it so
Yes.
that I can get some when I go down to my next game at Binghamton. So that's all I ask. Just double, just a little bit more, some shrimp, some mac and cheese. I heard a lot of things in there, that baked chicken. I mean, I didn't hear anything I didn't like, but the coconut rice, I am a coconut fiend. I don't know what it is about coconut, but God is good to give us coconut. So bring me into the coconut rice. Does it sound as good, or does it taste as good as it sounds?
Yes. It is. You can just eat it by yourself. It's like, it's so good. It doesn't need anything with it, but mix it with like, take the macaroni salad, take some rice. It's chef's kiss. It's so good. It puts me to sleep every time.
Talking about food in the studio while I'm very hungry this morning. Yanniah Boyd here with us. Binghamton women's basketball. The only team up to this point that you have a loss against in the America East is the team that you are facing next. So you get a win over UMBC. You now have a win over every team in the America East that you faced. So bring me into the opportunity to take that 6-point loss, turn it in your favor at home in Binghamton this week. Just how important it is to get on the right side of things with UMBC as the only team that has a win over you in conference in the America East.
Very important. I think, again, we're a team that is able to build off of hunger and all that. So we're all talking about, okay, get back game. Like, they got us down at home. This is our turn. We came in to that game lackadaisical, like we were just going to win it. And UMBC is a great team. They're a tough team that they're not just going to let you do that and do that easily, especially on their home floor. So we have to bring that energy back to them. Like, okay, this is our home court. We haven't lost here since our third game against St. Bond. So we have to defend that streak. We can't let them have it easily. And we know what they did against us last time, so we're definitely preparing for that, finding ways to stop them, and then do what we do great
Yeah.
that they were able to stop, and execute that to the fullest. So just getting ready to get back, get that win, and move on to the next one.
Well, and they're right behind you in the standings. So, I mean, you and Vermont have one loss in the conference. UMBC's right behind that. You made mention of something that has been huge this season, which is taking care of home. You are 9-1 at home. And like you said, after that loss to St. Bonaventure, which was one possession, 68-65 in non-conference play, that was in November, on November 11th. It's been more than 2 months, almost 3 months that you haven't lost at home. Just what you could say about that effort and what you've been able to do to protect the event center at Binghamton University and how crucial it is to keep that going, that we have not seen this team lose in almost 3 months on your own court.
Yeah, no one wants to ever lose in their home court, and we always want to give the crowd a good show and leave walking off of our court feeling satisfied without our heads down. So I think that's just like it's like that pride thing. Like you're not gonna beat me on my home floor, and I think that us as a a whole team and coaching staff, like we have that 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 I can say cockiness for that. Like you're not beating me. Like not here, not anywhere. So just that, and I don't think anyone wants to lose in their home court. Like you can even I know everyone says it's hard to beat Vermont up at their place, it's hard to beat Maine up there. And it's just like that same thing, like that I think every team carries with themselves. This is home floor, you protect your home court.
Yeah, and protecting that, you've also been able to win on the road. And when I go back to my conversation just a few minutes ago with Mary Grimes, your head coach, she said that she thought a turning point for this team in a positive direction was the double overtime 1 point win over Akron on the road. Bring me into that, and if you feel like that victory showed this team something.
Whew, yeah, that game long and tiring. I think it did because we played at Michigan first. We got everything handed to us. Um, but then we came back that the day after, 2 days after with Akron, and we battled, and we knew like, okay, we're going to overtime. We're not losing. We're going to double overtime. There's no way we're losing. We didn't come all the way from Binghamton to Ohio to lose this game in double overtime. And I think that switched our mentality. Like we're doing this. Like we're not gonna travel somewhere to lose. Like even like we're not gonna go to the other side of the country and let this team beat us. We're gonna come back with a win. Um, so it's just like again, I feel like it's that heart and again pride inside of you. Like we're not gonna do take all these steps, get all the way down to the end of the game just to hand the other team a win. Like no, we're gonna come out on top of that. Um, and I feel like we just stuck that win with us, the Akron one, and
Yeah.
we've built off of that and continued to play with that same fight and energy.
Do you feel like that victory has helped this team to have the resolve and have the strength in all these close quarter games that are 1 or 2 possessions? Do you feel like that Akron game essentially was a massive building block in what's helped this team gut it out when you're there in the huddle with a couple minutes to go and it's close again? Because you've won so many of those games after Akron. Was Akron kind of the thing that you've built this house upon, so to speak?
Yeah, I would say so. Because like, it's hard playing an extra overtime period, let alone two. And then we're pretty much almost everybody on the team fouls out. Like that's just that mentality, that mindset that you have to stay poised, calm, cool, collected, and then come out with that win. So I feel like in the other games that we had where even though they didn't go to overtime, but they were close possession games, we were able to remember that and keep that mentality and structure that we had in the Akron game and put it through with those close-knit games that we had.
So before we jump into rapid fire, Yanniah, what makes you believe that this team is capable of winning a championship, cutting down the nets? You guys talk about it. It's on your minds throughout the season. You have the opportunity in the America East to control your destiny. You put yourself in good positioning, but there's a bunch of games to go. This team has to focus and not get, caught up in the fact that you've won so many games, you have to have that confidence, that poise, and the resolve to continue to keep going. So what makes you believe that this team, this makeup, can be a championship team and can control their destiny to go to the NCAA tournament?
Honestly, I think it's just even just focusing us as players, our mindset, like we talk about it all the time, like manifesting it. Like we don't say if we win, we say when we win the championship, we're gonna do this. Like we talk about it all the time. We're like, yeah, we're doing this. When we saw the um predicted March Madness bracket, we sent it in our group chat right away, and we're like, we know other people believe we're doing this, like, and to have us walk around and other athletes, other coaching staffs like tell us, oh, like good job, like y'all are doing this, calling us, oh, like the champs. It's like that. I think it puts like a good like chip on your shoulder, like to tell you like we're doing it. Like I feel like that's the only thing I can say. Like if we believe it so much that we're gonna pull through and make it happen. We're not gonna let it be arms reach away and let it get taken from us. Like we're gonna go grab it first. So honestly, just that. Like I think we're all so hungry. We have two seniors. It's their last year that they're hungry to get it to finish it out. Um, our junior class, like we remember last year getting sent home first round, that stuck with us. So to use that as fuel, and again, our freshmen, they're just so hungry and relentless that they bring a big part of that. So just our belief factor as players, I feel like our coaches don't even have to like instill that in us anymore.
Well, like you said, it takes, a game like Akron, it took, as Mary said, it takes all of you. She needed the whole team. So you already know what it's like to band together and gut it out and find a way to get it done in extra time. So with that being said, with a little bit of extra time that we have, Yanniah, rapid fire, we'll go 3 apiece. You get to ask the first question. What do you got?
Oh gosh. Okay. Anything, right?
Anything.
Oh. Oh man, this is hard.
Any topic, any question. Think about it on the fly. We've talked about food. We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I was gonna ask like more with like in DC, but I know we did that last time.
Yeah. You can go back into it if you want to. I just bought something that I'm very proud that I have now. So that has to do with the Punisher. So
Wow. Okay, wait. All right. Okay.
all right.
I got you. Because now that you mentioned him,
Yeah.
who wins?
Hmm.
The Punisher? No. I got you.
Okay.
If you needed someone to like protect you, who do you pick? The Punisher or John Wick? No gun. Oh no, they both use guns. So between those two, like who do you know is gonna like get it done for you?
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's the Punisher. Hands
Okay.
down. You know.
All right.
Respect to Keanu Reeves, but I'm going Bernthal. That's not even a thought to me. Like because the energy and just there's just something about John Bernthal that I'm like, all right, you know what? I'd rather have him on my team than not on my team.
Yeah.
My question back to you: if you were a vigilante in Marvel, who would you rather take on the persona of? The Punisher, Daredevil, Luke Cage, or Moon Knight?
Okay, I didn't watch Moon Knight yet, so I
Okay.
can't. I know I'm so late, so I can't put him in there.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna go with the Punisher because like everyone like fears him, so it's just like that. I think that's so cool. And Daredevil, he's great and all, but like the Punisher was like throwing him around in Daredevil, so I feel like I have to go with him.
Okay. I like it. A lot of love for the Punisher this morning. What's your second question?
Um,
You can say Marvel if you want to, because it gives me an excuse to take Superpowered Pop, my other show, and Wake Up Call, and bond them together. I always like these conversations.
Um, okay. Whose side were you on in Captain America Civil War? Who was right, Tony or Captain America?
Captain America. We don't let the government make us sign things and have to restrict ourselves and whatnot. If you see somebody hurting, you try to save that person, you try to help them. So I am Cap underground all the way. I'll take my stars and stripes off, and I'll have a suit that's, got nothing on it but the fact that I'm here to help everybody. So I'm with Cap. I think the Sokovia Accords were a terrible idea, and I think that eventually the other side realized that.
Yeah.
My question for you, if you were a Marvel villain, who would you rather be and why? Ultron, Thanos, or the upcoming Doctor Doom? She's thinking, folks. It's not dead air. I promise you.
Um, okay, not Thanos, because I still don't understand his like logic. Like, I get it. He was like, because people weren't surviving in their countries, whatever, their planets, their universes, when it was too full, so make half of the population go away. But like, I don't understand how that was affecting him. So not him.
Okay.
I haven't read like the comics enough to know about Doom yet, so I'm waiting for the movie. So I'm gonna have to go with Ultron. More so because I think he looks cool. I mean, like obviously his logic to what he did wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
But I feel like process of elimination, I'm gonna have to go with him.
With Ultron. Okay. And, America and the world not listening to the fact that AI in every movie is a terrible thing. So Ultron is AI to the nth degree with vibranium. What's your last question for me?
Okay. Best like movie trilogy. So who had the best series? Like there's Iron Man, there's Thor, there's Captain America, all that stuff. Ant-Man, Doctor Strange. You can even say like the Avengers 4-part movie.
Who had the best? I'm going to say Iron Man.
Okay.
I'm going to say Iron Man. I mean, I have a goatee and so does Tony. So let's link up in the goatee world. I like my goatee and I design it. I do different things with it. So does he. So I'm gonna stick with the man that they started the studios on,
Yes.
RDJ and the crew.
There you go.
And by the way, Jon Favreau, fantastic job. He plays Happy, the person who drives around Robert Downey Jr., but he's also the person behind the scenes that helped to make that happen. So shout out to Jon Favreau. My final question for you: if you were putting a team together of Avengers, and you had to have one street level, so they don't have like superpowers, so to speak. So you have one street level character, you have one super soldier, which is like Cap and Hulk and Winter Soldier and all that. So you can have one super soldier, you can have one like mystical, magical, or space one. So you can have one from space or mystical, one ground level character, and one super soldier. Who would be your team?
Thor.
Okay.
Thor in Infinity War.
Okay.
Not whatever they did to him in Endgame. They nerfed him. It was so bad. And like Ragnarok, he was amazing in that. Super Soldier. Does Black Panther count as a super soldier? Because like the vibranium.
Well, he was
Not vibranium, like what he drinks.
Yeah, so he has the herb. So he kind of is a super soldier in a different means from what Wakanda had from the vibranium, but it also does connect to Cap. So I'll allow it because there's something to what he consumes that gives him the strength and the agility and the speed. So okay, we can say Cap and Thor. So who's your street level character?
Wait, so like that's obviously there's
No superpower.
does Iron Man count? He just has a suit.
That's true. He is a human being without this. I mean, his brain is a big part of his power. So yeah, you could say Iron Man. So Iron Man, Thor, Black Panther. That's a heck of a team. And Black Panther.
Yeah, that's
That-
my team.
That's a pretty unbeatable team, if you ask me. So I love it, and I love that these are the conversations. So the next time I see you like in person at a game or something like that, we need to have some type of handshake, some type of Marvel thing. There's got to be something we come up with, Yanniah. Like that's
Good.
just us, where they're like, "Is that the guy that you talked about, Black Panthers?" Be like, "Yeah, that's my Marvel guy right there." So we got the connect. So food, Marvel, mom, grandma, Yasira, Kathy, you know your job. Please send the food ASAP and just put a little bit extra on the side. Yanniah, as always, it's my pleasure to talk with you. I know you got UMBC coming up and the opportunity to even the score here. So I look forward to that and everything that is to come with the team. Shout out to you and your teammates, and keep playing like it's 0-0 and keep everything in front of you. I look forward to what's going to come for Binghamton, and I always appreciate our time.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
All right, take care.
You too.
That coming from Yanniah Boyd one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We have to take a step aside. We have the ingredients to success coming up, but we are already past our 2 hours. Under promise, over deliver. Yesterday was more than 4 hours when we promised 2. Today we're over 2. I think I want to say there was like twice this past year where we did a live broadcast that was under 2 hours by any stretch of the imagination. So under promise, over deliver. That's what we do here on Wake Up Call, because I love what I do and I do what I love and God lets me do it. So why not give it all I possibly can when I know that it is a beautiful thing to be able to wake up in the morning and absolutely love getting to do something that means so much to you. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll wrap things up with the ingredients to success right after this. Stay with us. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up It was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? Avicolli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicolli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicolli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to caninecampground.com as well. That's KAMP ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. It's time for us inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios to bring you our final piece of every Tuesday broadcast, which are the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. Avicolli's here with us on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, right down the street from Liverpool High School, and our home for all of our Liverpool athletic events that we do on site, on location, like with the boys bowling team that we had just a few days ago. Always happy to be with you at Avicolli's. They're open 7 days a week, and you could go there for lunch, dinner, and drinks. As always, drink responsibly and only if you're of age. And of course, you can find Avicolli's online to order, including for this upcoming NFL title game weekend. So if you're looking to get pizza, wings, and more, salads and whatnot, and antipasto for the upcoming game between the Patriots and the Seahawks, make sure you go to myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. And of course, you can also call for takeout, delivery, and catering, 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100 to Avicolli's. Today's topic for the ingredients to success: clear the air. Sometimes we just have to do that, right? And people get afraid to do that, right? I don't want to go out there and I don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm going to be uncomfortable. People beat around the bush. I'm a culprit of this sometimes, right? You talk to everybody else about the problem that you're having with somebody except for that person themselves, because you don't know how they're going to react. You don't know how they're going to be. You don't know how they're going to treat you. So you talk to everybody about it and say, well, this is what's going on and this is what I think. But unless you talk to the person, you can never really change anything, right? Nothing can come from talking to other people. Can give you advice. It can help you to calm down. It can help you to laugh, or maybe just, reacclimate yourself with coming back to, coming back to zero, so to speak. Reacclimate yourself with yourself. Remind yourself of who you are. People that love you and truly care about you and are in your corner, they can help you to calm down if you let them and really think something through, or just get back to being who you are. But they can't tell you what this person's going to say. They can't tell you what this person's going to do, how they're going to react. So a lot of people are passive aggressive because they don't want to deal with anything that could be difficult, right? You don't want to talk to somebody knowing that it could go in a negative direction. That person could be mad. That person could say something you don't want to hear. And so a lot of people run from that, right? I would rather talk to everybody else about what's going on in my life than talk to the person that I need to speak with, because that person could give me an answer that I don't want. That person could react in a way that I don't want. So you want to solve the problem, but you're afraid to attack it head on because you don't know what you're going to get, right? And I vibe things. I vibe things a lot. And so I trust the vibes that I have. And I know that, I can have a vibe where I'm saying to myself, hey, I think that this is over. I think this thing is done, right? I don't think that this is something that's going to carry on, but I don't beat around the bush with it. I used to. Didn't get me anywhere. Now I go head on. And I'll reach out. Phone call, text message, and just say, hey, I kind of feel like this is where things are at. Wanted to check in with you. And what people don't understand is silence is an answer. When you don't hear anything, that's your answer, right? Sometimes that is and I'm not talking about you send something and you don't get anything within an hour. I'm saying over a long period of time, you don't get a response. That is the response. The response is the silence of that person either telling you, hey, I don't care, or this isn't important to me, or you're right, and, I'm running from the situation, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I agree, but my answer is in the silence, right? And that happens a lot. Silence, a lot of the time, is the way for somebody to say, this is where I'm at. But at least you put yourself out there. Sometimes I have instigated what could be a tough conversation, and I got nothing back. But I kind of, in a way, expected to get nothing back. And the irony is, the decision I made was partially based on a lack of respect on the other side. And then that person showed me in their silence that lack of respect is something that is going to continue on. But at least I know, right? See, a lot of times we're not going to have the conversation. We're going to have it in our head. We're going to have it with other people, but we're not going to have it with that person. Where I find that if I try, at least I know I did it. If I stick up for myself, at least I know I did that. See, some of us feel like we failed because we don't get the answer we want. But I think you succeed in asking for the answer. I think you succeed by at least putting yourself out there and saying, hey, no smoke and mirrors, neither one of us trying to prognosticate or assume something. This is where I stand. This is who I am. Right? Sometimes you're interested in someone that's not interested in you. Sometimes you're interested in a job that they don't want to give you. But I'd rather go to a person and say, hey, do you want to go on this date or what? Are we doing this or not? I'd rather go to a company and say, hey, do you want to work together or not? And I've had those conversations that I was afraid to have before, where I'll reach out to a company and say, hey, we were supposed to talk 3 weeks ago. I haven't heard from you. So I'm under the assumption that you do not want to work together. And I just figured that I would reach out to say that I wish you the best and I hope everything works out for you. I think we had a really good plan of what we could implement together, but based on not hearing from you in weeks, I'm going to move forward, and I hope that you do too. And sometimes somebody calls you right away and goes, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk to you. I wasn't trying to make you feel that way. Other times, you get no response, or you get hope the best for you too, right? So, but I would rather be the person that doesn't live in the fear, doesn't hide in the corner, and doesn't put my tail between my legs and run. I would rather be the person that says, hey, I thought this was going somewhere. I thought this was something, but obviously it's not. And I'm not going to continue to put my efforts forward knowing that there's no effort coming from your side, business, personal, whatever it may be. So I'm going to move forward. But I want you to know, like, I'm going to give that person what I don't always get. See, the thing is, if you want something, be willing to give it. And what I want is I want clarity and transparency and honesty. So if I don't want to be in a relationship, then I need to be the person that is open enough to say, hey, you know what? This isn't for me, because I would want somebody to do that for me. If I was in a business partnership and I don't want to drag somebody along, I would want somebody to tell me, hey, we're not going to do this, instead of keep pushing me off and having me call for 6 months. So I have to do that on the other end and go, hey, I know we met. I just don't feel like this is a good fit for me. And be willing to stick up for yourself. When you think that people don't give you a voice or an opportunity to sit down, that you say to them when you get to talk to them, hey, this is why I'm okay walking away. I want you to understand that from my point of view, I gave everything I possibly could. I feel like you gave me little to no opportunity. I don't appreciate that, but I want you to know that I can leave this in good conscience saying I gave you all that I possibly can, and the way that you treated me, I really don't appreciate. And that's not burning a bridge. It's telling the truth. Burning a bridge is saying F you and F everything you do. But it's not burning a bridge to look to someone and say, you didn't have the decency to call me. You didn't have the respect or the just common humanity to let me know or look at me eye to eye. Or the day before a meeting, you texted me in cowardice instead of meeting with me the next day and saying it to my face. What were you so afraid of that you couldn't talk with me as a human being, person to person? And a lot of people shy away from that. I've realized in life there are a lot more passive-aggressive, scared people that will not speak to your face than there are people that will sit down with you and have the common respect for you. And see, how you treat people, that doesn't affect today. And this is what people don't understand because they're short-sighted. How you treat someone can affect that person's willingness to interact with you for the rest of their lives. If something doesn't work out, but you sit me down and we respect each other and we go back and forth and we both say our piece, Down the road, maybe we work together again. Maybe we try something again. But if you disrespect me and you ignore me and you act like I don't matter and you refuse to meet with me and you don't have the common decency to have a conversation with me, even for 5 minutes, there's a really good chance that I don't want anything to do with you for the rest of my life. Not because I'm holding a grudge, but because you showed me who you are. You showed me your character or lack thereof. And I don't work with people that don't respect people. We can disagree with each other, but you better respect me because I better respect you. And that's how I live. There's people that I cannot stand working with, but they're an evil that comes with the territory of things that I want to do. So I say hi, I smile, I shake their hand, I ask questions, but I make our conversations minimal because that person is not a human being that I would ever choose to be around. But I come from God, and so do they. And so the least I can do is to muster up the energy and the confidence and the bravery to be kind to a person that I know is going to throw more swords at me than they're going to smile. And in my interactions with them, anytime they're good, it always goes back to being negative. They don't stay good. And if they're good for a really long time, you know those people that you're around and it shocks you when they're nice to you, which is really sad, but true. The people that you're like, wow, when they're nice or they're kind, you feel like they got the wrong coffee and somebody put some type of psychedelic drug in it or something like that. I mean, or their medication changed. You have no idea, right? Or maybe they just won the lottery and you're the first person they saw, so they're going to be nice for 5 seconds. But you realize that there are people that are nice, and there are people that are consequentially nice, right? It depends on like what they think might happen to them that provokes them to be nice, or they're nice they're situationally nice. Like I know somebody who's situationally nice, been rude to me the majority of the time that I've ever known this person. But when they were around rich people and money was involved, they totally changed their tune with me. And it's laughable. It's funny because the moment they were not around those people, they went right back to being who they are, right? They put on a good show for a half an hour, but as soon as they're out of that situation, it's back to negligence, rudeness, double standards, and hypocrisy. And because I know who you are, I know how to handle you now. And I will tell you this, people that are mean, rude, double standardy, hypocritical, if they're mean to you and you're mean back to them, they're going to get meaner. And if you're nice to them when they're mean to you, they're going to get meaner because that's who they are, right? I grew up that if you treat people well, they will treat you well. That's how I was taught. Treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Put good in if you want to get good out. But sometimes we put good in and we get bad out. And that makes some people go, well, then what's the point of being good? Well, the point of being good is because it's not for those people. You're trying to get back to heaven, right? You're not here for them. What does the prayer say with Mother Teresa? It was never between you and them. It was always between you and God. So it's between you and the big guy. How you get to where you want to get to in life. It's between you and God. So if you want to accomplish something in your life, you got to look to Him. It's not about them. And I'll tell you this, if somebody treats you poorly and you treat them just as poorly or worse, and you look up at God and you go, well, they deserve it, God, like high five. God's not going to high five you. God let His Son walk to His death, be nailed to a cross, bake in the sun until He breathed His last breath on earth before resurrecting and returning to earth. God had to watch an extension of Himself die. So you think He's going to tell you that if He allowed Jesus to walk to His own death, carry His own cross, based on no sin, there was no reason for Jesus to be killed. And He asked Jesus to be in that moment, in that life, He asked Jesus to do nothing but help people and then be killed by some of those same people. Some of them His friends. So you think that God's going to turn around and say, well, I didn't let Jesus do an eye for an eye, but you can? It's hard. It's hard. And there's a difference between sticking up for yourself and being a jerk to a jerk. There's a difference. Not to call anybody a jerk. I'm just saying, maybe I shouldn't use the word. So let me apologize for that. I shouldn't have used the word jerk. Sticking up for yourself does not give you the right to be negative and immoral and hateful. We deal with people that hide, lie, you find out who somebody is at some point. And my gut has never been wrong. There's people I worked with for years, and I was nice to them every time. But when push came to shove, I found out who they really were. And when I thought about it, I was like, well, you always found something to be weird in your interactions with them. You always kind of felt like they weren't personable and that they weren't really open. And then in their last act with you, they were not personable, they were not open, and they didn't have any decency or humanity to them. So that feeling along the way showed you that. And it's the same thing with somebody who, like, you can have 20 people come up to you and go, I hate this person, they're a terrible person, don't hang out with them. And then you spend time with them and you're like, my interactions with them pretty much been good. Nobody's perfect, but 95% of the time, that person's been there for me a heck of a lot more than the people that told me not to be around them. Those people have been around me and there for me maybe 0%, 20% of the time. And they consider themselves good people. And this quote unquote bad person's been there for me every time I asked them to be. So it's really important to life to clear the air and have the conversations and make up your own decisions. I'm not going to hate anybody. And people say, really? You don't hate people that cheat on you, lie to you, steal from you, plagiarize your work, attack you, treat you like you're worthless? You don't hate those people? And I say no. And they say, why? And I say, because hate's too strong of a word. That's what my grandmother taught me. That's what G taught me. She said, you can severely dislike something, but never hate it, because you can't come back from hate. And hate is too strong of a word. Hate means there's an absence of love. You can't hate and love. You can't hate someone and love somebody. People think they can, but they can't. When somebody goes, oh, I hate Jill, but I love my husband, Bob. No, if you have hate in your heart, that creeps into everything. You probably treat Bob a way that he doesn't like at times, because hate only spreads and love only spreads, but they cannot coexist. They can't. You can't coexist hate and love. And people say, well, there's a fine line, and there may be. But when somebody shows you who you are, you got to or who they are, you have to believe them. You have to, or else you're going to drive yourself nuts forever. And it's really hard to give your all. You could be in a romantic relationship and you give everything. You give that man or woman your time, your energy. When you had nothing, you gave them something. You gave them money when they didn't have a job. You helped to build a home with them. You mowed the lawn every week. And, let's say you got in a relationship and they had kids and you took care of their kids and you paid for their kids and you cooked for their kids and you drive their kids around everywhere. And 8 years in, they're gone. And you think to yourself, but I did everything. I did everything I could do. I wasn't perfect, but I did so many things. Or you look at a business relationship and say, I promised you X and I gave you A, B, C, D, E. I gave you the whole alphabet. Sometimes you work tirelessly and you get a phone call that you're getting fired, not because you did anything wrong, but because they don't like you, because they're downsizing, because they're merging, whatever. And there's a heartlessness to some people that they may think is a detachment, right? Like I make decisions and I just detach from it. There's a heartlessness to some of that. It's not easy to fire somebody. even if they are just doing a really bad job. It makes it easier to step away, but it's not fun. You know, when I've made decisions to not work with a company anymore, it was hard. It took me a really long time. I was being disrespected for years. And then I finally reached a point where I was like, yeah, I won't allow myself to be treated this way anymore. But I loved what I was there for, and I kept trying to go around all the circus because I was there for the right reasons. But you can't have a good partnership if it's one-sided, and that's business, friend, family, romance. You can't have you can't have a positive, good relationship that only goes one way. And that goes for God too. Right? We expect I thought about that last night. I'm like, man, I ask you for everything all the time. But what do I give you? Well, they say, well, God doesn't need anything. He doesn't need us. No, he doesn't. But he wants us. And what am I giving? He's given me all of these blessings, and I don't want to give any of them up. I'll share them, but I don't want to give them up. But what do I give him? You know, when we're clearing the air with people, with God, you have to think about, what are you bringing to the table? What are you doing wrong? What are you doing right? What are you perceiving as right that may be wrong? What are you perceiving as wrong that may be right? We have to be willing to learn and to grow, or else we die. None of us are perfect. We don't have it all right. I have had to evolve a billion times in my career. There's all these things that I'm used to doing to set up my show in the morning that I didn't know how to do 4 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that I never even thought of, that I didn't even know existed. And there's something that I've done every year the same way, and then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should do it a little bit differently. I don't think it's working out this way, or maybe I should at least try it and see if I like it. Maybe I should go back to something I used to do, because after doing this other thing, I constantly am thinking about the fact that I had a lot of value there. So why did I give it up? Those are all things we need to think about. Right? You have to be willing to learn and to grow. You have to be willing to change. I'm not saying let go of who you are and your character and what you stand for. I'm saying don't get stuck in a place of, I'm awesome, everybody else sucks, and I'm going to do it my way, and that's just how it's going to be. And, you know, I'm never going to be willing to adjust or learn or grow or evolve or know when I'm wrong. That doesn't help anybody. And I promise you that. It doesn't. You're never going to be right all the time, and you're never going to be wrong all the time. But you have to be willing to clear the air. And that comes with a lot of difficult conversations, right? Thinking of your words. If I feel somebody disrespected me and didn't give me a fair shot, I'm going to listen to them. And when they're done, I'm not going to curse them out or be negative or hateful. But I have evolved to being a person that says, you know what? I don't think you really gave me a fair shot, and I really don't appreciate it. And I know that you've made up your mind, but you made up your mind with little to no information. We didn't go over anything. You didn't tell me this was coming. You didn't give me any notion that this was going to happen. And now, if you think I'm going to kill myself for years to get peanuts again, I'm never going to give you that satisfaction. See, I learned. I came after this thing vehemently, constantly, consistently, because I really found value in it. But now I know that you don't find value in me. So I did everything I set out to do. I tried and I tried. I worked my tail off to earn the right to be in the room. And it took me forever to get in this room, and it took a half a millisecond to kick me out. And you couldn't even look me in the eye when you did it. So, I mean, how do I feel about things like that? Now I know who I'm working with and who I won't work with. But does it mean that I did something wrong and working my tail off to get there? No. It just means God wanted me somewhere else. He wants me to do something else. I can go to sleep at night knowing I gave my all, I underpromised, I over-delivered, and I made a difference. I made a positive impact in other people's lives. That's what I set out to do. I set out to help others, to give them an opportunity they didn't have, to provide for them a better road than other people had before them. And the fact that their superiors want them to go back to being unknown, unheard of, total ghosts in society, get no coverage, no connection, no opportunity. Those kids had nothing. I tried to give them everything I possibly could. And now they have nothing again. Over what? A decision that was made with no factual information, no conversation, no humanity. That leader in the ivory tower, they're not going to hurt when those kids hurt. They're not going to hurt when those leaders hurt. They might never feel it, the repercussions of it. But when I'm clearing the air, I'm going to say, I set out to do something. I accomplished it. We have had tremendous success. I love helping this place. And if I'm leaving, know that you're doing it with no rationale, no logic, no respect. I don't appreciate it, and I feel terrible for the people that it's going to affect. You're allowed to say those things. It may not change anything, but you are allowed to stick up for yourself, clear the air, and face the music, because I will tell you this, passive-aggressive gets you nowhere. Talking under your breath gets you nowhere. Calling my mom when I have to talk to my girlfriend, yeah, my mom could be there to comfort me, but she's never going to be able to do anything when it comes. I mean, my girlfriend, if it's between her and I, only us can figure it out. Only us. My mom can give me pointers, tips, advice, help, love, a shoulder to cry on, laughter. She can remind me of who I am, what she sees in me. But when push comes to shove, she cannot make the decision on what we're trying to figure out. If it's between me and my girlfriend in this example, then it's between me and her. And she can't tell me if this person loves me, if they're going to be there, if they're going to stick up for me, if they're going to ride with me, if this thing's going to work. Only that woman can tell me that. And that's, I think, something that we all have to learn is you have to face it. You have to face the music. You have to face your fears, whatever you want to call it. You have to go to the people and places and things that are bothering you, and you have to figure it out, hash it out with them. You could talk to your friends till you're blue in the face, but your friend will tell you, I'm not your boss. I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. I'm not your girlfriend. I'm not your boyfriend. I can't tell you what they're going to say, what they're going to do, and what's going to happen. All I can do is support you, give you advice, and listen. But until you face it, you're not going to know what the outcome is going to be. And a lot of the times we're so afraid that we play all these scenarios in our head that could be far worse or far better than what we think it's going to be. But until we actually do it, a simulation is a simulation. It helps you along the way, but a simulation is never going to get you there. It's going to help you practice, but you have to actually do it in order to find out what could be. So clear the air. Talk to that family member, that girlfriend, that boyfriend, that husband, that wife, that kid, that parent. Talk to that boss, that employee. Because hoping that things will change without taking any measures to change things, it's not going to work. And how many of us walk by people in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our places of work, where we want to address a problem, but we just walk by hoping that our scoff or our huff or the way we look at them, or our cold shoulder, or our shortness. We hope that all of these things tell them how we feel instead of just telling them how we feel. We hope that things are addressed that we never address. You got people going in asking for a pay raise in their mind because they've done way too much for what they get paid, and they get told they're getting fired. They're sitting here thinking, I'm not getting paid what I'm worth, and they get told, you're not getting paid anything now. We can't keep living life trying to allude to and hope that people pick up the signs. You got to be real. You got to come direct. And I don't know how other people live their lives, but if you don't come direct with me, respect me, sit down with me, talk to me face to face, or at least over the phone, you're not going to get anything from me. If you don't respect me and you don't sit down with me, I don't know you. And I don't want to. I'll pray for you. I don't wish bad on you. I hope you have a fantastic life. But I get to choose who I do business with. I get to choose who I sleep next to. I get to choose who I call family. And you're not going to make me do anything. But I promise you this. It's taken a long time to not live in fear. But now I know. State what you're worth, whether people believe it or not. Be courageous. Be clear. Be real. And when people take advantage of you and disrespect you, don't walk away and, scream at the top of your lungs and spend the next 5 years having anxiety attacks. Say to that person, you know what? I don't really like how this went down. And I don't really appreciate it. I don't wish bad on you. And I don't hope bad for you. And if our paths ever cross again, I hope it's a better exchange. But just know that the way you treated me, I'm disappointed in you. And I'm disappointed in this. You don't have to scream, call names, hate. But, a lot of us always walk away saying, man, I should have said this. I should have done this. I should have stuck up for them. I should have stuck up for myself. It's not for the other person. It's okay, though, to say, without hate, without animosity, without seeking an eye for an eye, it's okay to say, you know what? I've always treated you good. And I can't for the life of me figure out why you treat me this way. I don't know why you talk to people the way you talk to people. Or how you could just throw somebody in the trash. Or how you could be irrational enough to think that someone's going to continue to bleed for you when you have shown them that you have no respect for them. It doesn't discredit any of the work that they've done. But if you think they're going to keep showing up and you're going to keep laughing with your cronies, being like, ha ha ha, we've taken advantage of this person forever, and because they have a good nature and they believe in God, we're going to take advantage of them for the rest of your life. I don't see anywhere in the Bible God said get taken advantage of. I don't see anywhere in the Bible where God said be a punk. I don't see anywhere in the Bible where God said be worthless. I don't see that. I never have. I've never seen God say you need to, there's humble yourself, but there's never been hate yourself, discredit yourself, disrespect yourself, put yourself down. I've never seen God say, let somebody walk all over you and keep getting walked on. He said if someone hits you, then turn the other cheek instead of hitting back. So you got to be careful with your words and your actions, that you're not hitting back. But I don't remember God ever saying, if you're in a place where people treat you like garbage, stay there. Enjoy it. Hate yourself. And for a person that I can only speak from my point of view, it took me forever to love myself. I am absolutely not going to allow myself to be in a place where I am treated like a pawn, or expected to just discount and discredit and embarrass myself. I will always give my all. Because if I don't, I immediately feel that and know I have to change it. But I will never, ever allow myself to be treated as subhuman and stay there and take that. I'm not going to hate you. I'm not going to spit back. But I will never let somebody treat me like a slave. My own God has not enslaved me. He freed me. And he frees me every time I shackle myself. And I refuse to do it again. Sometimes your greatest strength is in silence. It's in walking away. But there's always going to be an opportunity to clear the air, to say what you need to say. And I hope you take it with kindness, respect, that you treat people the way you want to be treated. But I hope that you gain the courage inside of you to say, this is why I'm walking away. This is why I'm choosing not to do this. This could have been averted. This didn't have to happen. But I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. You don't have to tell people you're a good person. People know deep down inside when they crap on a good one. And they know when they crap on somebody who's not good to people. The reality of it all is you shouldn't be crapping on anybody. Even if you think they deserve it. Even if you feel like they've earned it. We should not be seeking to hurt others, even when they hurt us. It's not about hurting somebody. It's not about putting somebody in their place. It's about sometimes saying to someone, I value myself more than you value me. Thank you for showing me that. And now moving on. No hate. No connection. And nobody's ever going to make me be in a room and feel not welcome. Is God with me at all times? Well, then I got my best friend. So if I step in a room and it's him and I and you're verse us both or verse me, good luck. Because if I walk into a room with him, I don't need anybody else. And sometimes you walk into a room for so many years feeling like everybody's on your side, or most of them are, and you realize after years, God was the only one that wasn't going to stab you in the back. Sometimes you give everything that you can, and it never makes sense at the end. But I would rather give every bit of gas in my tank to something than to have gas left in it, knowing I could have done a better job. I love you all. Let's take a step aside. Make sure you clear the air in your life, wherever that air needs to be cleared. Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road. You can go and visit them Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. Lunch, dinner, and drinks. You can order online, and you need to do that for that Seahawks-Patriots game coming up. Do it now. Reserve some time. Go to myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. You can also get in touch with them for takeout, delivery, and catering by calling 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100 for Avicolli's. We'll take our final step aside, and we'll wrap things up on Wake Up Call right after this.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Be a big kid every single week by going there Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5. They're always adding to their inventory of singles, packs, boxes, graded cards, and more. You never know what you're going to find at GG Cards and Breaks. In the time that I've known them, they have only elevated their game, and I thought what they did was awesome in the beginning when I first met them. They've only elevated, only expanded, only extended what they have and what products they bring to us. It is an absolute pleasure to go to GG Cards and Breaks, who is different in all of the wonderful ways. There's not a sports card and trading card shop like them, and it's because of the people, which we talked about from the start of the show today with Jamie Young. Head out to GG Cards and Breaks. Whether you're a sports fan, Disney Arcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, One Piece, or you just need something to protect your cards, travel with them, or showcase them, it's all available at a place where every age can be a big kid. GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. We'll see you there. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. It's so big you probably see it from space. That giant brick building with the double drive-through. Head out there today. I went out there this past week, had a great time with Miss Lily, my pup. She loves Chick-fil-A, loves their Chick-fil-A fries, got a little bit of that pup cup as well. So we were out hanging out at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, and we look forward to you going out there with the ones you love. You can order on the app, you can order inside, or you can order in the drive-thru. They also have fundraising and catering events. Find out more by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and clicking on the Chick-fil-A Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard logo. And of course, you can go and visit them today for all of your favorites, as well as those limited time only cups and more. They now have awesome spins on their drinks when it comes to creating floats, as well as frosted beverages, all at Chick-fil-A DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. We look forward to seeing you there. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being a part of the show today and always here on Wake Up Call, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're happy to be with you up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Once the shows go live, they hop into the archive, and you'll find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, and we have a bunch of shows that have been added there within last week into this week, so make sure you check out all of our new inventory there today. Big time shout out to our wonderful team in Central and Upstate New York, comprised of Great Lakes Honda City, as well as Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, where we will be this Wednesday, February 4th at 5:30 p.m. with the girls basketball team of West Genesee. Big time shout out to GG Cards and Breaks, Myers Creek, Bryan's Landing, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, where we will be this Thursday, February 5th at 6 p.m. with the JV boys basketball team of the Baldwinsville Bees. Big time shout out to Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Canine Campground, again, dog boarding. I mention them again because they have 2 dogs that are up for adoption. I shared their videos again. They're on my story on Instagram at wakeupcall_DT and on Facebook. So make sure you check that out. If you would like to bring a wonderful new addition to your family, Buddy and Chance are waiting for the opportunity to come home with you. Big time thanks to Game Point Sports Complex, Mother's Cupboard, Avicolli's, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. You can find the Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat time, like today at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide, with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni. You heard today from the women's basketball team that is doing so well this season, 7-1 in the America East, and looking to keep things going, looking to heat up even more, and to show you that you haven't seen anything yet. The Binghamton Bearcats are on youtube.com /wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. And I do want to thank also OCC for the Laser Lounge, and we give our best to the Onondaga Community College Lasers as you will hear them twice more this month coming up this week and 2 weeks from now. So big time shout out to their student athletes, coaches, and administration. For now, from Wake Up Call, big time thanks to Jamie Young, Mary Grimes, as well as Yanniah Boyd, and thanks to Avicolli for the ingredients to success. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, go and find your next ride or your first ride at Great Lakes Honda City. 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York, our exclusive studio partner, and they are open Monday through Saturday for sales and service. Get a sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. For now, from Wake Up Call, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon. Stay safe.